In Minneapolis, and more are planned for today. A rundown of what's happening in the city in the wake of the deadly ICE shooting.
Plus, a similar situation playing out in Portland, Oregon now. Tensions are rising there after Border Patrol officers shoot and injure 2 people.
As you head out the door this Friday morning, you might encounter a slick spot, especially in your neighborhood streets and on ramps and overpasses. But for now, things are looking good. It's shaping up to be a Friday light. I'll have your drive times coming up in a bit, and the Fox 9 Morning News at 6:30 starts right now.
Live and local all morning. This is Fox 9 Morning News at 6 a.m.
Here we are. It is a Friday, and glad you're with us on the Fox 9 Morning News and on Fox Local, always streaming live. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Chanu Her. I'm in for Kelly O'Connell on this Friday morning. Let's get you over to Keith Marler for a look at your forecast before you get out the door on this Friday. And Keith, doesn't feel too bad outside temperature-wise.
Correct. We have a little bit of a light breeze, but temperatures are just barely frozen. They're a good 5 degrees on average above what a typical high is for this time of year. An average high is in the low to mid 20s. We're parked in the mid to upper 20s, even just a 31 in Rosemount, just 1 degree below freezing. 31 in New Richmond as well, 30 in West St. Paul, 28 in Crystal, 28 in New Brighton, 28 in Orono this hour, 29 in Chanhassen. We maintained a thaw for most of the night, well after the rain left. Rain left most of the metro between 9 and 11 o'clock last night. Left southeastern Minnesota, though, rain with just a hint of snow mixing in southeastern Minnesota around 3 to 4 o'clock this morning. So it lingered longer, obviously, where folks saw a ½ inch plus of rain in southeastern Minnesota. In the metro, most of us saw a few hundredths of an inch, barely, in the northwest metro, as in 3/100ths of an inch in Maple Grove, 1/100th of an inch in Rogers, to about a 1/4 inch in the southeast metro. All that energy, again, getting out of here, no problem. So we did, with a little bit of a breeze, dry up a lot of the roadways overnight, but there are plenty of glazed areas now that we are refrozen. Watch for those sneaky slippery spots in a lot of areas. Southeastern Minnesota, you're above freezing for the most part, but as you do refreeze a little this morning, watch for plenty of icing going on down in southeastern Minnesota. All that rain energy getting out of here. We've got pockets of clearing going on in western Minnesota, and that is overtaking the metro area. So although we do have some passing cloud cover currently, we'll get back into some sunshine for the morning hours, and we'll stay there off and on with patchy sun for the day today before clouds return this evening and a little skiff of snow comes on down to decorate the overnight hours tonight and into parts of tomorrow. So for today, some patchy sunshine at times, but teasing a thaw. Temperatures don't go up much, but they might just go up enough to a high of 32 degrees. Guys?
Thank you, Keith. Well, Governor Tim Walz is declaring today a day of unity. He's asking Minnesotans to participate in acts of service to honor and remember Renee Good, the woman shot and killed by ICE. He's also calling for a moment of silence at 10 a.m. And overnight, a small group of protesters did remain at the scene of the shooting there in Minneapolis.
And they remained there this morning. Take a live look right now from that area that has been at the center of this situation. Early this morning, the city of Minneapolis began removing the barricade that protesters put up to keep cars from passing through, blocking them from that area on Portland Avenue. The city cites a need to keep streets clear for first responders.
And the shooting, the protests, and ICE presence in the Twin Cities is now prompting multiple schools to cancel classes today. Minneapolis Public Schools made that call Wednesday night. Fridley and Columbia Heights Public Schools have since joined them, canceling classes for today as well. We spoke with the Fridley School District, which says it's specifically because of ICE activity in the community.
Once classes resume on Monday, Minneapolis Public Schools offering students the option of learning from home. This is all according to Marcia Howard, the president of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators. In a post on social media, Howard says students will have the option to attend virtually through February 12th.
And tensions related to immigration enforcement are inflamed further after another shooting involving federal agents.
This time happening in Portland, Oregon. Leah Bino is following this developing story for us from the Live Center. Leah, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, hundreds of protesters staked out an ICE facility in Portland overnight, angry over another shooting involving federal immigration agents. This happened yesterday afternoon. The Department of Homeland Security says a driver sped away from a targeted traffic stop. The department Department claims a passenger was a Venezuelan man involved in a recent shooting. The Trump administration says a Border Patrol agent fired a shot because he feared for his life. Portland police say a man and a woman were hurt in that shooting, and their conditions are not known at this point. At a news conference with Portland leaders, they showed solidarity with their counterparts here in Minnesota.
Spoke with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry. We shared not just our concerns, but our grief for the families who are suffering.
Now, the Border Patrol agents at the scene claim the vehicle involved in this shooting nearly hit them as it drove off. However, there's no immediate independent corroboration of that account, and no video has emerged at this point. As we've seen here in Minneapolis, there are multiple sides, drastically varying opinions and levels of trust on anything having to do with ICE actions. We will continue following what's happening out there in Portland. Back to
All
you.
right. Yeah. Leah, thank you.
Thank you, Leah. And the ICE agent who shot and killed Renee Good has now been identified.
We have also learned he was involved in another incident with a vehicle over the summer. Court documents named Jonathan Ross as the officer who was dragged 50 yards by a vehicle during an attempt to arrest a man in Bloomington. This was back in June. Those records say Ross broke a window and reached into the vehicle trying to open the door. When the driver sped off, Ross's arm remained stuck inside the vehicle. He was rushed to the hospital and received several stitches.
And Fox 9 has extensive coverage on the deadly ICE shooting, the victim, and the protests that continue across the country. You can find all of that on our website, fox9.com, or the Fox local app to see more of that and get all of that information.
Just about to turn 6:37 on this Friday. Let's look at some of the other things happening today. The man accused of killing former United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson expected in federal court today. It is a pivotal hearing for Luigi Mangione, who is trying to avoid the death penalty. His lawyers will argue authorities prejudiced his case by turning his arrest into a spectacle.
The CEO of Xcel Energy is expected to speak today on the impact data centers have had on Minnesota's electric grid. The centers used to power things like generative AI, require a massive amount of energy to keep up and running. Today's discussion is part of the Minneapolis Federal Reserve's Regional Economic Conditions Conference. Edina's interim superintendent has been upgraded to a permanent position. The Edina School Board voted to make Daniel Bittman the district's superintendent. Bittman had been serving in that position since the district's former superintendent left to go lead St. Paul Public Schools.
Just turning 6:38, let's get over to Lauren Andrego. We know we still have some icy spots out there. You get a little of that thawing, and then you get the freezing in the morning.
Yeah, that's been the case all week, that thaw, freeze, thaw, freeze. We also had some freezing rain and precipitation that caused some interesting conditions all through this week. And that's what we're waking up to this morning. Just some slick spots here at 29 degrees at 6:30 in the morning. But traffic volume is low. So even as you're taking it slow this morning, I'm not seeing any backups, but some brake lights all across the Twin Cities, like right here, 35W at Johnson Street. This is the Johnson Street curve, one of those spots that we watch out for when things get slick. But as you can see, no problems getting in and out of Minneapolis this morning. 35W and 35E looking great across the board. 17 minutes from Burnsville to Minneapolis, 17 minutes from Forest Lake to St. Paul on 35E. No problems in the North Metro. And as you're crossing the Minnesota River, things are looking good too. In between the Twin Cities, no backups yet. 394 looking good as well. 11 minutes between Minneapolis and St. Paul headed east, 8 minutes heading west, 10 minutes between Woodbury and St. Paul on 94 headed west. Here is a look at your big map. Crash free, delay free as we approach 7 a.m. in what should be our busiest point in the morning, but we'll see if that rush hour picks up. I'll have another look at drive times coming up in about 12 minutes. Let's check in with Keith. He's got your weather on the 9s this morning. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Lauren. Live look at St. Paul. You can see those clouds breaking over the city now as we're chunking up the cloud cover that brought us our rain showers yesterday evening and into the first part of the overnight hours here in the Twin Cities, wrapping up in southeastern Minnesota just about 3 hours ago or so. It lingered for most of the night. We only picked up a few hundredths to a couple of tenths of an inch in the Twin Cities, quarter inch in southeastern parts of the metro, but half inch to over an inch from southeastern Minnesota and into just across the border in La Crosse, over an inch of rain. fell. So, yeah, some copious amounts of rain down in the southeast. We'll go over some of those totals coming up in just about 9 minutes or so. But out the door right now, we've finally refrozen over the past couple of hours or so, kind of tapering down those temperatures as we've started to clear that sky out. So watch for fresh, slippery spots. Luckily, with a bit of a breeze and a night that has remained mostly thawed, we were able to dry up and kind of allow a lot of that moisture that we got, which wasn't a ton, to continue to evaporate out or just dry up. 29 degrees in the metro, but again, plenty of fresh, slippery spots in locations that might not have been there yesterday. Going for a high, teasing a thaw for some of us at 32. A lot of the state staying with 31s or 30s, which of course would remain frozen. The sun will help, but it's not going to be here all day as we will see some cloud cover build back in the afternoon. Single digits up across Bemidji and Detroit Lakes with a little bit of a northwest breeze. You've got wind chills below zero, where the rest of us have chills in the teens to lower 20s. But we are 29 in the metro, 30 in Faribault, but thawed still. Red Wing, Winona, down toward La Crosse and over toward Eau Claire, the last to see the thickest of cloud cover. Also the last to see your rain showers leave across our eastern viewing area. The clearing sky moves on in from the west, currently occurring here in the Twin Cities, but the cloud cover will return toward the back part of the day. We'll see increasing late day and evening clouds, and you see that light little line as a clipper system dives our way, bringing just a couple of weak waves of some snow overnight tonight. We'll pick up dusting to a ½ inch of snow overnight into tomorrow morning, and then some hit and miss light flakes decorate the day on Saturday. So temperatures hold in the upper 20s and lower 30s this afternoon. Patchy cloud cover with increasing late day clouds overall, but upper 20s and lower 30s for highs. Overnight tonight will fall down to the upper teens and lower 20s with off and on light snow overall. And then for tomorrow, a few lingering flurries and kind of cloudy, but temperatures hold. Upper teens to right around 20 for pretty steady temperatures as we go on into the day for a chilly day on your Saturday. We get some sunshine back into the day on Sunday, but temperatures, they hold seasonable. I'll have details coming up on that 7-day in just 8 more minutes. Guys?
Very good, Keith. Thank you. 6:42. Minnesota health officials are breaking with the CDC to make their own vaccination recommendations.
Yeah, what they are recommending instead. But first, let's check in with Shane Wells. Good morning.
Good morning. We are at the Minneapolis Institute of Art as they unveil these beautiful frozen creations. They take some of the art from inside and then replicate it. This is just a tiny Viking ship inside the gallery. Here you can see larger than life. We'll have more. We'll walk here on the courtyard coming up after the break.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today. You're waking up with Fox 9 Morning News.
Welcome back. It is 6:46 on your Friday morning. The Minneapolis Institute of Art is known for its famous sculptures both inside and out.
And our Shane Wells, our own work of art, is there this morning as they debut a glistening new gallery. Shane, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for that comment or compliment. I'll take that. We are checking out the courtyard at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, and there are sculptures out here. These ones just a little different, a little shinier, I'd add. Evan Grunis is with us. He does the social media and marketing here at MIA. Okay, let's walk through it. Now, obviously, weather dependent, this event.
Always.
Right now, it's working great for you.
Sure is.
But if you want to come see it, you want to do so before these creations melt. Tell us about kind of the roots of how this all started.
Yeah, so it started all the way back in 2015 during our centennial year here at MIA. And then really kind of this current iteration started during the pandemic when we were closed to the public. And we really wanted to bring the art into the community. So we placed ice sculptures of artworks in parks throughout the city. And now we brought it back home here at MIA.
Love it. Okay, so we're by the Guardian Lions.
We sure are.
These are important when you're in the gallery. You see these pretty early on.
You see them right before you walk into the building.
And they're guarding the courtyard now.
They
okay,
sure are.
Let's keep moving. So there's 9 that are out here.
Yes.
And how do you guys pick what to have turned? I mean, I'm sure part of it goes into what can the artist create out of ice?
That's a great question. So yeah, one, it's sort of what can actually be replicated in a good way in ice. You have to be able to kind of have larger details. You can't have super tiny details. And we need to think about melting. Even if it's, not super warm, they do slowly melt. So
it does happen.
They got to be a little bit sturdier. You can't have really intricate work. But you can see here, like this one's still holding up despite the rain yesterday.
Yes. Okay, tell us about the bronze owl.
Yeah, so this is a frozen replica of the Pillsbury owl, which is on view in the lobby that was recently restored. So we're kind of excited to show a frozen version outside and a fully restored one in the lobby inside.
Love it. And then behind us here, I think a lot of us know the dog statue.
Yes, the Nara dog, your dog. Always a favorite with visitors and kids in particular.
Okay, my favorite, he has a new addition. It kind of looks like he might be drooling a little bit, which dogs do.
That's thanks to the rain yesterday, but on brand for a dog for sure.
Tell us about, you were telling me earlier, just it's so important more than ever to bring people together. Art is healing. Art is important.
Absolutely.
This is an opportunity to kind of come be with nature, be with art all at the same time. Free, too.
Exactly. We want to give people in the community a chance to kind of come, unwind, kind of just enjoy some beauty in life right now. And they can come see them outside and then see the original artwork inside.
It is a good juxtaposition because we passed it earlier. It's a little too far now, so I'm not going to make you head that way. With the Viking ship we were showing before the break, how big is that in the museum?
In the museum, it is this tiny little piece. It's so small, and then we've replicated it in a massive scale.
Love it.
So it's kind of fun to play with different sizes of the sculptures.
And it's important, if you want to come see these, to do so sooner than later. If you check out the forecast, there's a little warming out there, so hopefully you can make it out this weekend and check out what they have on display. And as you mentioned, then go inside, warm up, and see what they look like in real life as well. Evan, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll send it back to you guys.
Very good. All right, Shane, thank you. So beautiful out there.
Yeah, not feeling too bad out there. But some of that rain that we've gotten over the last couple days, frozen now, Keith. A little slippery. I let my dogs out this morning. They try to take off and kind of slipped a little bit right on the pavement. Yeah.
A little wily coyote running off the side of a cliff. Action there as the legs do a little spinning. That's been my I feel like Battle of the Network Stars, as that is not a testament to anything that I feel about myself. As walking through the parking lot, it's just one of those insane challenges that you do. It's my version also of American Gladiator, of walking through the parking lot. I feel like I need one of those big things that you hold with like a giant Q-tip that I need to carry, because I feel like I need to battle someone. Yeah, a jousting thing.
Joust?
I don't know, because I'm prepared. The way I stand as I walk through that parking lot, because I have just this approach to walking on ice that is so battle ready and frightened. I'm ready for anything at any point, and it's mostly me falling that I'm ready for at any moment. And I've made it through every day. I've slid just once. and nearly just collapsed on myself. 12 hundredths of an inch. That's all we saw officially in the Twin Cities. Officially. And that was rain. You go just to the southeast of that, you go towards Cottage Grove and Invergrove Heights, and over towards Hastings, you're about a quarter inch, so double that. You go northwest of that towards Maple Grove and Crystal and Robbinsdale and Brooklyn Park. You had so little of that, a tenth of that, coming in at 200ths and 100ths and 300ths of an inch or so. You go all the way down toward Rochester, well, look at that, a half inch of rain, and then you double that up again, and you're toward La Crosse with over an inch of rain. So again, it was a southeastern Minnesota affair and over into southern Wisconsin, but it was enough to cause slippery spots for the morning now that we have refrozen, and we have done exactly that as we've finally gotten below freezing. We've spent the night above freezing until a few hours ago. We started teasing a bit of a freeze, but now that we've committed for most of us, we certainly are seeing plenty of that. Now, western and northern Minnesota, you did not see the rain, obviously, and you've remained frozen through the night, and you are now in the single digits up toward Detroit Lakes and toward Bemidji, where you actually have sub-zero wind chills, but you're also very clear, and we're getting there here in the metro. Northwestern flow remains fairly light, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Plenty of sunshine to start off your day. Now that the clouds are breaking as we speak in the metro, that sun comes up in about an hour. It'll be nice and bright with some patchy cloud cover building through mid to late afternoon and then getting cloudier toward the evening. And then overnight tonight, we'll see some light snow showers. And that could bring us a quarter to a half inch plus across the area overall, maybe a little bit more across northern Minnesota as it zips on by, but nobody should see more than an inch across the area. And we'll keep them light snow showers going as we go on into the day tomorrow too. Very light, maybe a few flurries here and there as we go on into your Saturday. Most of the snow would be overnight tonight. Just a little unsettled, we'll call it, with stronger gusty breezes. The clouds churn and a few flakes fly off and on and a few little light. I don't even know if we'd see a burst of snow into the day on Saturday, but you can't really rule that out, especially up across the north. Just unsettled, but temperatures just won't go anywhere into the day on Saturday overall. We'll go for an overnight low around 20, and then we'll just stay locked there. Upper teens to right around 20 all day with some frigid chills on Saturday afternoon. Then we'll break free of some of that, get some sunshine, and go for more seasonable mid-20s into the day on Sunday. Put it together on a forecast, then teasing a thaw today, a bit of sunshine early on, fairly quiet. Steady temperatures, some afternoon and evening clouds. Highs again right around 32. A few light flakes tonight, turning colder with a skiff of snow. 20 for your overnight low, and that becomes our pretty much steady high for tomorrow. Much cooler and breezy. Fairly cloudy, some light flakes and flurries fly, and temperatures hold fairly steady through the day before we fall off again into the low teens on Saturday night. Rebounding, partly sunny sky on Sunday, a high of 26, and then boost. It's gone. Here comes the thaw. Highs in the upper 30s to near 40 on Monday, and then upper 30s with cloud cover and a chance for a rain or a rainy mix into the day on Tuesday, then back down to the 20s again toward the middle days of next week. All right, let's see how those slippery spots are doing anything, or if they're doing anything on our roadways for this morning. Lauren?
Looking good so far this morning. At 6:53, we are crash-free across the Twin Cities, which is a great change of pace from the last couple of mornings as we've dealt with quite a few slick roads. Here's a look at 94 and 610. This is in Maple Grove, one of the roads that MnDOT is flagging as potentially slippery, some light ice on the roadway. Not seeing any problems here. I don't see reduced speeds. Man, it was a different case here 24 hours ago. Maple Grove really struggled with a number of crashes and pileups yesterday morning, but now we're not seeing any problems across the North Metro at the moment. 14 minutes on Highway 610 from 94 to 35W. That's in the Mounds View area. No backup yet on 694 between Fridley and New Brighton, and Roseville is looking good too. Highway 36, 17 minutes from 694 to downtown Minneapolis. No crashes, no backups. Your big map is looking really good, all green across the board as we approach 7 a.m. Tom and Chanu, I'll have another look at drive times in just a couple minutes.
All right, Lauren, thank you. It is just about 6:55. The Minnesota Department of Health says it is breaking from the CDC when it comes to vaccine recommendations.
MDH announced they are now aligning their immunization guidance with the professional medical associations. So for child vaccines, the American Academy of Pediatrics will now be consulted. For adults, they'll go with the American Academy of Family Physicians for advice. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists will give guidance on shots for expecting mothers. MDH says this change is in response to recent changes in federal policy.
We really looked at the best science to date. We have taken a lot of calls from providers and parents, and we have been looking at what other states are doing. And we've decided here in Minnesota, the best thing to do is really to align with those trusted medical associations that really do follow the absolute latest and best science in immunization practice.
For student requirements for Minnesota schools, they will remain the same.
Well, don't go away. Just turning 6:56. We have a lot more planned for you this morning on the Fox 9 Morning News. It is Friday. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Good morning. It's 6:59 this morning, just about 7 a.m. Traffic volume is still low and we are crash free and delay free. Roads are looking good for the most part, so it is shaking out to be a Friday light around here to kick off our weekend. Good morning to Eden Prairie. This is Highway 212 at Mitchell Road. No problems. Roads are actually looking dry here on the west side, and all your drive times in the green for the most part. I guess we're slowing down just a little bit on Highway 7 this morning. 15 minutes from Victoria Drive through Minnetonka to 494. Just about a minute delayed right here on Highway 212 from Chaska to Eden Prairie. Highway 55 looking good from the city of Rockford to Plymouth. 18 minutes on Highway 55 and 9 minutes on Highway 12 from 41 to 494, just south of there. Once you get to 494, things looking good inside the Twin Cities Loop as well. Your routes into Minneapolis and St. Paul are in the green so far. Not seeing a lot of brake lights, but take it easy on those turns, your ramps in your neighborhood streets, which could be less treated. We are seeing a couple slick spots out there. I'll have another look at your roads and drive times in about 15 minutes. The Fox 9 Morning News at 7 starts right now.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News.
With ICE agents targeting the Twin Cities, thousands of students now staying home from school. We'll have more on some major changes that some districts are making as teachers call for schools to be off limits.
Minnesota must be part of this investigation.
Frustration from Minnesota leaders as the federal government locks them out of the investigation into the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis.
And after U.S. military strikes in Venezuela, could Mexico be next? What President Trump just said about the possibility of striking our neighbor to the south. The Fox 9 Morning News at 7 starts right now.
Live and local all morning. This is Fox 9 Morning News at 7 a.m.
Good to have you with us on this Friday, and thanks for waking up with the Fox 9 Morning News and joining us on Fox Local, streaming always there. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Chanu Hura in for Kelly O'Connell on this Friday morning. All right, let's get you over straight to meteorologist Keith Marler for a look at that forecast this morning. And temperature-wise, Keith, not a whole lot to complain about.
No, considering an average afternoon high for this time of year is 24 degrees, and here we are parked out the door. We're frozen, but we're 28. You can see the cloud cover over St. Paul breaking up quite nicely. We've gone from an overcast sky overnight where temperatures that were thawed out for the overnight hours now back down below freezing, but with broken clouds. We'll see some brighter elements for the first part of your day. We'll see some patchy cloud cover develop, and we'll see some clouds return to the area toward the evening hours, and that's going to ultimately lead to some light snow overnight tonight. But we wrapped up some rain last night, picking up a few hundredths to a couple of tenths of an inch of rain as we went on into the overnight hours. Some clearing sky out towards the west heading our way. You can see those rain showers exiting stage right on the right-hand side of your screen there as they head off towards the east. But that was the rain shower action that rolled on in, and it was all rain here in the Twin Cities. And for most of our viewing area, seeing some very little light snow in southeastern Minnesota, mixing in at the very end. There's that pockets, areas of clear sky and sunshine, patchy cloud cover mid to late afternoon, and then cloud cover tonight with some very light snow that'll form up and roll on in as we head on into the very late portions of our evening and overnight hours. Little skiffs, dustings to half inches maybe overnight tonight and into parts of the day on Saturday. Today, though, temperatures just teasing a thaw. Patchy clouds and sunshine build up as we go through the afternoon and evening hours, but much colder. High only around 20 with some light snow into the day on Saturday. All the details coming up over the next 19 minutes.
All right, thank you, Keith. It is 7:02 right now in the wake of the ICE shooting and killing of a Minneapolis woman and ICE activity at a local high school. Minnesota educators are now demanding changes.
And some schools have gone as far as canceling classes today. Bill Keller is live in Minneapolis with what is being said and what is being done. Bill, good morning.
Good morning, guys. In fact, we are at Education Minnesota. They represent more than 84,000 teachers. They say that these ICE actions that are happening around the Twin Cities are having a negative impact on students. They say that some families are afraid to leave their homes because the students are no longer feeling safe at school. Minneapolis Public Schools, in response, now offering students the option of learning from home. Now, according to a post on social media, Marcia Howard, she's the president of the teachers union there in Minneapolis. They say that students will have that option to learn from home until February 12th. All classes and activities have already been canceled today. That's a decision that MPS says was made out of an abundance of caution. Schools in Fridley and Columbia Heights, they are also canceling class today, citing safety concerns. The Fridley School District saying that the school closure is because of the ICE activity in the community. In Columbia Heights, some child care options will be open with regular hours. Others will be closed. They're encouraging parents to check online for any changes. Meanwhile, we are learning new details about an incident involving ICE agents at a Minneapolis school. Now, this is what happened outside of Roosevelt High School yesterday. This was just hours after the ICE agent fatally shot Renee Good. According to the Minneapolis Federation of Educators, agents deployed chemical irritants and detained a school staff member who was busy assisting with the safe dismissal process. That staff member, we're told, was later released, but federal officials, they are giving a different account of what happened. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security says that agents were trying to arrest someone who had actually fled into that school zone. They say that a school staff member then assaulted the agent. They say there was a crowd that formed. They were throwing objects and paint at officers and their vehicles. As those at the scene say, something should have never like this happened in front of students.
I know other people who are doing legal observers. My mother-in-law has been out at Dowling Elementary at dismissal. And when we saw what happened at Roosevelt High School during dismissal, it just really shook me. I did my student teaching at Roosevelt. This is our community, and I just wanted to come out and really be with people.
Now, Education Minnesota will hold a press conference that's expected to happen in just about an hour at 8 o'clock, stressing that schools must remain places of safety and stability as they call on federal agents not to interfere with their education. Back to you.
All right, yeah, something we're going to follow this morning because it could affect a lot of families. Thank you, Bill.
7:05 now, and state and federal investigators are now at odds over who is a part of the investigation into the fatal ICE shooting.
Leaders at Minnesota's Bureau of Criminal Apprehension say the FBI first invited them, then cut them out of the investigation. It's standard for the Bureau to investigate a shooting by federal law enforcement, but state leaders say it's unusual for the FBI to block state investigators from seeing any of their work. Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson says now it'll be hard to investigate on their own.
It would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, without cooperation from the federal government.
Commissioner Jacobson says he believes the BCA is needed in this investigation to establish the public's trust in this process.
Another investigation into immigration officials, this time in Portland, Oregon, after a border control agent shoots 2 people. It happened yesterday afternoon. The Department of Homeland Security says a driver sped away from a targeted traffic stop. The department claims a passenger was a Venezuelan man involved in a recent shooting. The Trump administration says a border patrol agent fired a shot because he feared for his life. Portland police say a man and a woman were hurt in the shooting. Their conditions are still not known this morning.
No peace.
Protests for both the woman shot here in Minneapolis and the 2 shot in Portland, those continue across the country. This was the scene in Seattle last night. Similar protests held in dozens of cities as well. More are planned for this weekend.
There is now a verified GoFundMe set up for the family of Renee Good, the woman who was shot the other day. Since going live late Wednesday, more than 36,000 people have donated to the fundraiser, and you can see it is up to $1.4 million.
Fox 9 has extensive coverage on the deadly shooting and protests there, so you can head to our website, fox9.com, or the Fox local app to see more. You can get that app for free wherever you download your apps.
New this morning, President Trump says the U.S. will expand its operations against drug cartels.
Yeah, but it's how he plans to do it that's causing some concern here. Leah Bino is in the Live Center with what the president is saying about this. Good morning, Leah.
Good morning. Yes, during a sit-down interview with Sean Hannity last night, the president suggested the U.S. military could start targeting Mexico with airstrikes.
We've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by water. And we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country. But the cartel...
President Trump did not share any further details about what exactly he means there by, quote, hitting land in Mexico. His comments come amid the months-long military operation in the Caribbean and Venezuela. The Pentagon has claimed the targeted boats were attempting to carry drugs, such as fentanyl, into the United States. But those claims have been called into question. Now, just yesterday, the Senate advanced a resolution pushing back on the president's military threats against Venezuela. Democrats plus 5 Republicans vote in favor of a war powers resolution limiting the president's ability to conduct further attacks on Venezuela. Now, there's very little chance of the resolution becoming law, as it would have to pass the Republican-controlled House and then be signed by President Trump himself. But we will continue watching that situation. Back to you guys.
All right. Yeah, Leah Bino in the newsroom. Thank you, Leah.
Take a look at our forecast for today. Here's what Keith is talking about. Teasing a thaw. 32 for the high temperature. You can see we're at 28 right now. Patchy clouds are going to be out there, but we'll have some sun and a fairly steady temperature right there at the freezing mark. So be advised of that for the better part of the day. Some of those on-ramps, off-ramps, cross streets, side streets, and intersections may still be a little slippery. They are this morning, so be advised as you're heading out for your day if you're driving anywhere. Keith will let us know what is happening with our weekend weather and beyond coming up in Weather on the Nines at 7:19. An extension to Affordable Care Act subsidies is heading right now to the Senate.
This was the issue at the center of last fall's government shutdown. Yesterday, the House voted to bypass Speaker Johnson and put the bill on the floor. The legislation extends billions of dollars in subsidies for another 3 years and should help lower premiums that spiked dramatically on January 1st for around 22 million Americans. Despite the House passing this plan, though, there are still concerns it could be dead on arrival in the Senate.
Protests continue this morning in Iran. All week, demonstrators have been clashing with police and the military there. Iran's government shut down the internet and international phone calls in an effort to keep protesters and those protests from spreading.
Well, wildfires have burned nearly 10,000 acres in the Patagonia region of Argentina. More than 3,000 people have now been forced to evacuate near a national park. The region's governor says the fire was started Monday as a result of arson.
Fire crews in Anaheim had to step in last night to save passengers trapped on the monorail at Disneyland. Officials say about 60 passengers were stuck after the train lost power. No other disruptions were reported at the Disneyland theme park.
Well, new tax deductions are available this year, including one that could help you pay off the loan on a new car. How much this could save taxpayers.
And the surge in ICE activity around the Twin Cities is prompting hundreds of people to get trained as constitutional observers. We'll take you inside the training to see how that works. Fox 9 Morning News is coming right back. We'll take a look at your traffic. I'll have your Butler business, and Keith has your forecast.
Good morning. It's 7:15. Thanks for waking up with the Fox 9 Morning News. Looking quiet out on the roads to start this Friday morning, headed into our weekend. No crashes, no delays, and things are looking good. Good morning to Burnsville. 35 at County Road 46, right near Buck Hill, just south of our Burnsville split. No problems here. You will notice as you step out the door, your driveway, your sidewalks, your neighborhood streets, any lesser treated roads might be a little bit slick, but our interstates, state highways, even county roads looking really good this morning. We have low traffic volume, and also we've had a lot of practice driving on icy roads this week, so we're looking good this morning. No delays on 35W or 35E headed over the Minnesota River toward 494. Same goes for 169 in Shakopee, 9 minutes from Marshall to 494, and Highway 77 looking good over the river from 140th in Apple Valley to Highway 62 near the airport. Here is a look at your big map. It's been looking like this all morning. In the green, across the board. It's what we like to kick off the weekend. Tom, I'll have another look at drive times coming up in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, not too BAD right now. All right, Lauren, thank you. 7:16 Butler business time on this Friday. Early birds who want to get a jump start on their tax season now have a date to look forward to. It is January 26th. That is the first day you can file your 2025 taxes. Some tax experts say the filing process could face delays this year after tens of thousands of IRS workers were laid off last year. Remember Doge? They encourage everyone to file early so your return doesn't get stuck in the backlog. If you buy a new car made right here in the US of A between now and 2028, you can deduct up to $10,000 of your car loan on your taxes. There is no itemization needed for your taxes to get that windfall. It's an above-the-line deduction, meaning it is available to those taking the standard deduction as well. This deduction will phase out, though, for people making over $100,000 a year. Evenflow is recalling a popular car seat due to possible safety concerns. The voluntary recall is for nearly 75,000 of these 4-in-1 convertible car seats. According to a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration report, there are concerns that this car seat may shift positions when it is rear-facing. Evenflow says there have been no reports of injuries. They'll start sending out letters to owners with instructions on how to get a new model. J&J, Johnson & Johnson, says it has agreed to deal with President Trump and the administration to lower prices and increase access to common prescriptions. The deal will also exempt the company's drugs from tariffs. The lower costs will be applied to drugs offered in the Medicaid program. Among those drugs produced by J&J are several popular ADHD meds, blood thinners, and cancer treatments. We previously told you about the change over at the post office that could push back when mail is postmarked. The Postal Service says it is no longer marking your mail with the date you dropped it off, but will instead, it'll happen when it gets to the processing facility. The problem is that could take a couple of days if it's time sensitive. As we head into election season, experts warn anyone using mail-in ballots to return them earlier than normal. You can also do this. You can go to the post office and ask the mail clerk to manually postmark the letter to ensure it is marked the day you mailed it. So be advised. Taxes too. You wait till the 15th. 7:19, and we're waiting on our weekend, Keith, to get here, and hopefully some decent weather. Let's talk about today, though, and what to expect. And there's a little bit of, well, I guess we had a little rain, like you forecast yesterday. A little rain last night.
Told you, ignore those colors that were on Futurecast. It would paint the proper footprint of the moisture and the path of the moisture, but we weren't caught up in the colors because we knew that the atmosphere is warm enough to support the precipitation melting and becoming rain. No matter how it was starting up in the atmosphere, it was going to be rain by the time it got here. We weren't worried about freezing rain. We knew that temperatures would hold in the very cold mid-30s, so it was a cold rain. For folks that were out and about yesterday evening. I know there were a lot of folks out there, but it was a cold rain falling across Minneapolis, 1/10 of an inch in Minneapolis, and 9/100 of an inch in St. Paul, 12/100 in Edina, 13/100 in Eagan, about a 1/4 inch in the southeast metro, but only a few hundredths, barely registering, barely measurable in the northwest metro overall. Luckily, temperatures held most of the night, so some of that, especially the northwest metro, was able, with a bit of a breeze, to kind of dry up overnight before temperatures started to freeze. Not as much on the east and the southeast side of town, and certainly not as much in southeastern Minnesota, we saw 1/4 to a 1/2 inch closer to Rochester, or 1 inch plus in La Crosse. And that rain and a little bit of snow mixing on it did not wrap up until 3 and 4 o'clock this morning. Our temperature now down to 28 degrees with a clearing trend. Folks in northwestern Minnesota, as I showed you just a while ago, in the single digits in Detroit Lakes and up towards Bemidji with sub-zero wind chills. With a northwest wind coming in around 10, our wind chill is now 19 here in the metro, but all of this is so far above average. An average high temperature for a January 9th is now 24 degrees, some of our coldest average temperatures of the year that we're about to settle on in. Low pressure leaving, cold front leaving, gusty winds from Michigan down through Indiana and Ohio. This is the path of that cold air and that now snow across Michigan and in toward Ontario, but behind it, the clearing trend is moving in for us. Our next system is this area of low pressure. This quickly moves in and brings a skiff of snow overnight tonight and some lingering snow showers into tomorrow, light snow, but also some much colder air as we move on into the weekend. So for today, some patchy sunshine into the day, nice and bright, then partly cloudy to partly sunny this afternoon, and then mostly cloudy tonight with a little skiff of snow rolling on into the area, dusting to a 1/2 inch possible with some lingering light flurries into the day on Saturday, but temperatures holding right around 20 or 21 tonight and into the day tomorrow as we go to a very frozen but barely thawed 32 for the day today. Quiet and 26 into the day on Sunday, upper 30s to near 40 from Monday to Tuesday. I just put a 40 there with a chance for some rain showers mixing with a little light snow on Tuesday, and then back to the 20s again as we head on into the middle days of next week. Fox 9 returns. We're back after the break.
You're waking up with Fox 9 Morning News.
Welcome back. It is 7:25 on your Friday. It is still not clear this morning if Renee Good was an official constitutional observer, but her death is prompting hundreds of community members to get trained to document ICE activity. The Immigrant Defense Network held another constitutional observer training in Minneapolis last night. More than 300 people showed up to learn how they can help observe and document ICE activity around the Twin Cities.
People are here coming in the hundreds to be armed with basic civil rights on how and why this is happening and what can they do. We're very clear. We're not here to stop any enforcements. We're here to observe and document them.
Organizers say observers are there to make sure the rights of detained individuals are not violated. Another training is set for next week in Duluth. All right, so much more ahead right here on the Fox 9 Morning News, including a new outdoor art experience at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Shane Wells has the preview. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning. Yeah, we're checking out these chili creations. Take a look for yourself. Now, this is fun. Most of these replicate art that is inside. This one's a little unique because this is what Team Mexico will be sculpting in snow for the World Snow Celebration happening in Stillwater next week. So a fun collaboration, also a little peek ahead to one of the entries. We'll show you around the courtyard and more of these frozen sculptures coming up after the break.
Welcome back to the Fox 9 Morning News. Now here's your weather on the 9s.
7:29, we dried out nicely overnight. However, plenty of still wetter roadways from yesterday evening's rain. still decorate part of our southeastern part of the state and into the southeast metro especially. The northwest metro only picked up a few hundredths of an inch of moisture or less. So a lot of roadways were able to dry out overnight thanks to a breeze and the fact that we stay thawed for most of the night as well. However, there are plenty of sneaky, slippery spots, more so on the southeast side of town than the northwest side of town. But again, that doesn't mean the northwest side of town doesn't have anything. 28 degrees, feels like 19 with a bit of a breeze. We are going to try to get back to around 32 today, but that's about it. And that's really just in the Twin Cities. A lot of the state stays frozen overall in the upper 20s to right around 30. Nice and bright this morning as we've broken apart that cloud cover, but then it kind of comes back on in slowly through the afternoon. So teasing that thaw with patchy cloud cover that slowly builds through the afternoon, becoming partly sunny, then mostly cloudy after sunset tonight as a clipper system moves on by and brings a dash of light snow, a dusting to a ½ inch possible overnight tonight and into your Saturday morning as temperatures fall off to around 20 and then stay there all the way through Saturday. I'll have all the details coming up over the next 19 minutes. The Fox 9 Morning News continues right now.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News at 7 a.m.
Good morning, and thank you for starting off your morning with us here at Fox 9 and Fox Local. I'm Commuter in for Kelly O'Connell.
Good to have you here. I'm Tom Butler, and we'll catch you up on the news at 7:31. Overnight, the city of Minneapolis began removing the barricade put up by protesters near where ICE shot and killed Renee Good. And here's a live look now at the memorial on that street. This is Portland Avenue, where the 37-year-old was killed, and that memorial continues to grow this morning.
All right, and let's bring you up to speed on other things that we are working on right now that we got here. On Wednesday, an ICE agent, now identified as Jonathan Ross, shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Good in Minneapolis. Now, that's led to days of anti-ICE protests, both in Minnesota and nationwide. It's also one reason for multiple school districts canceling class for the rest of the week. Yesterday, Governor Walz said the FBI has taken full control of the investigation into this shooting, keeping the Minnesota BCA from participating.
Well, the events of the last few days are weighing heavily, we know, on just about everyone.
Yeah, the Timberwolves, they acknowledged this and honored Renee Good before last night's game.
We're saddened by the tragedy that occurred yesterday in our Minneapolis community in the loss of Renee Nicole Good. Our thoughts are with her family and everyone affected, and our hearts are with our community as we hope for healing and unity during this challenging time.
And after that announcement you just heard there, it was then followed by a moment of silence.
Well, once the game began, things went well for the Timberwolves. They got their 4th win in a row, beating the Cavs 131-122. And Anthony Edwards had 25 points, sending him past the 10,000 mark for his career. He is the 3rd youngest player to reach that milestone.
We're comfortable. Like I said, just making the right read. They double team me off the pick with Rudy, hit Rudy in the pocket. They double team me when we run small, find Dante, find Jaden on the road. Just watching film, just picking up little reads here and there.
And he surpasses LeBron James and KD, Kevin Durant, his favorite player. Last night was also the Timberwolves Pride Night. Fans who had a special ticket package got commemorative T-shirts. Free tickets were provided to local LGBTQ organizations, and Ant even made a donation to Queer Space Collective.
It was also Pride Night last night in Seattle, where the Wild took on the Kraken. Minnesota closed out the road trip with the big win there. Seattle pushed it to OT, but the Wild come out victorious. They take this one 3-2. The Wild finally get to return home to St. Paul. Their next game is tomorrow against the Islanders. Puck drop is at 7. And like we just mentioned, it was Pride Night for the Kraken. The Wild will host their own Pride Night coming up on March 10th against Utah. Fans who purchase a special ticket pack will get a Pride-themed jersey. A portion of those ticket sales that will be donated to Twin Cities Pride.
7:34 now. An outdoor art gallery opens to the public today.
Yeah, Shane Wells is at the Minneapolis Institute of Art with the first look at these chilled creations. Pretty cool. Good morning, Shane.
They're cool creations.
Good morning. If you take a look at this one, you might recognize it. That's kind of the idea here. We have Rob Badeau with us. He is with Mia. Okay, give us the scoop on like this one, for instance. Very famous sculpture inside, huge sculpture.
Yeah, this is Your Dog. It's one of the family favorites that we've got here. He's about a third size. We typically have Your Dog here every year for as an ice sculpture. This year we also have, if you stop by, coloring sheets for the kids inside with Your Dog.
Can create whatever you want.
Yes.
Out of Your Dog. This one's notable, the owl. Tell us why this was chosen and then the inside significance too.
Yeah, so the owl has been part of the collection since the 1950s. It's a Chinese bronze. We've had him, like I said, since the 1950s. There was some work that needed to be done, so he went away for a little bit, just came back from Japan and is on view for the first time in a couple of years in the lobby. So we thought we'd welcome him back with an ice sculpture as well. You can see him through the end of January in the lobby, outside here in the ice, maybe through the weekend.
Okay, that's notable. Ice, it melts, and it is going to be a little bit warmer. So if you do want to come see this and take in this beauty in the courtyard, sooner the better. Take us just back to how this event started.
Yeah, so we've been doing ice sculptures here at MIA since about 2015, which was the museum's centennial birthday. We did them on campus. We've also done them off campus as well in the park across the street. Really just a way to celebrate art in a different context, a reason to come in and look at some of your favorites displayed in a different way.
Okay, so we have to do the contrast. We saw Your Dog, which is smaller than the actual sculpture.
Yes.
This is a great reverse of that.
It is. So this is a Viking ship. It is done as from a small lacquer piece that's probably about 3 inches big. So it's really fun to play with size and scale.
It's 3 inches inside the gallery.
Yep, it's in a case. About this big, and he's about this big in there. But it's a really beautiful piece. It's lacquered and enameled. It's a Bergen silver piece that we've got.
Amazing. Thank you for taking us on a little tour. We only got to show you a few of them. There's 9.
Yeah, there are 9 pieces here. We've got a variety. There's some lions that flank the front of the building that flank the park as well. We've got a piece that's in partnership with the World Snow Celebration. We've got lanterns that were provided by the Lopet, as well as other artworks that are out here to take a look at.
A real community and team effort.
Yes, absolutely.
Rob, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
With that, we'll send it back to you.
Very cool.
Very pretty. And I like how they're illuminated too.
Yeah.
It's what we call cool art. It's cool.
Oh, a Tom Butler dad joke.
Yeah,
the week isn't over until we get one. I love it.
You're welcome.
We like it.
Let's see if we're liking what is happening on the roads right now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, no accidents out there.
Yeah, smooth sailing.
Oh, really?
And and things are a bit slick out there, but by this Friday, today, at the end of this week, we're trained professionals out on slick surfaces. We've been dealing with that all week this morning. Crash-free and delay-free, and that includes Bloomington 494 at Lyndale Avenue. If you're headed to MSP Airport this morning, no problems today. Your interstates are looking a little bit shiny, but haven't really seen any slowdowns yet this morning. Traffic volume is also low, so that's keeping all our drive times in the green. Crosstown, 12 minutes on both sides between Airport and 169. 494 looking good as well. 17 minutes from 212 in Eden Prairie to 35E in Eagan. Here is your big map. Finally starting to see some different colors on the board. 169 in Shakopee, just starting to see brake lights over the Minnesota River, as well as our turn from Highway 10 to 35W here in Mounds View, another spot that slows down super quickly in the morning. But otherwise, headed into Minneapolis and St. Paul or to the airport, all green across the board. I'll have another look at drive times in about 15 minutes, and Keith is back in 15 seconds with your weather on the 9s.
'Dealer today.
7:39, meteorologist Keith Marley here. Nice and bright, even though we are still 11 minutes away from sunrise. The clouds have been breaking. We have some fresh, slippery spots from our rain that wrapped up in the metro well before midnight last night, but it was all rain. We talked about that. All rain. We stayed above freezing until the wee hours of this morning. Then we fell just to and then just below freezing, really only over the past 3 or 4 hours or so here in the Twin Cities. The rain didn't wrap up until the past 3 or 4 hours or so in far southeastern Minnesota. where you mix in just a little bit of a snowy component, but much greater amounts in southeastern Minnesota. Half-inch plus down in Rochester, over an inch down in La Crosse on the other side of the border in Wisconsin. But in the metro, high end was a quarter inch. In the southeast metro, low end was about barely 1/100 of an inch in the northwest metro. Overall, we're 28 degrees now, so watch for scattered fresh, slippery spots, but a lot of that was allowed to kind of dry up overnight last night because it just wasn't a lot, especially in the north and the west side of town from some breezes and the fact that we stayed, again, allowing temperatures to stay up there. Now, 32 degrees is where we're heading this afternoon, but we'll also see a little light cloud cover kind of come and go through the day today, but slowly building and thickening toward the back half of the day as we just barely flirt with that thaw marker as we head to the afternoon. 28 in the metro, but single digits. Bemidji and Detroit Lakes with a little bit of a breeze. You have a sub-zero wind chill in the single digits below zero, but still thawing from Red Wing, Winona down through La Crosse, Eau Claire, as that cloud cover is a little thicker through our Wisconsin zones. Clearing sky or clearer sky in general across our western viewing area as a whole with temperatures in the teens. And we again are breaking free on the 35 corridor into that zone of clearing sky, and then nice and bright out across western Minnesota. As that sun's coming up, I guess I should say, nice and bright. We'll have pockets of good old sunshine for the morning hours, then increasing cloud cover, little veils of filtered sky build and build through the day to day until ultimately we're cloudier toward the evening hours. And then that's part of a clipper system that will bring little dashes of some light snow toward the evening. And then we'll kind of flesh that out overnight with a few little bands of some light snow that generate. This only takes us until about 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. We have more to come as we go through the 9, the 10, the 11, the 12 o'clock hour. Very light snow showers through the night tonight. That'll add up to dustings to a half-inch into your Saturday morning, and then a few flurries will linger into Saturday. But once temperatures chill out tonight, they don't go anywhere tomorrow. So 32 degrees for your high today. Patchy sunshine to mostly cloudy by the end of the day. Upper 20s to lower 30s overall, but only a few of us will try to touch that thaw mark. Overnight tonight, in and out of some very light snow showers, then just a few flurries into the morning. Overnight lows in the teens to around 20, which is above average. But then with breezy conditions, we just don't do anything with it tomorrow. A high around 21 with cloudy sky, in and out of some very light flurries through the day on Saturday. Some sunshine in middle 20s on Sunday. I'll show you on the 7-day forecast coming up in about 8 minutes. The Fox 9 Morning News returns right after this break.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today.
FoxNews.com today.
You're watching Fox 9 Morning News at 7 a.m.
Welcome back. It is 7:45 in continuing coverage this morning. Luigi Mangione is back in federal court today as his attorneys fight to exclude key evidence and keep the death penalty off the table.
We know the 27-year-old is accused of shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson back in December of 2024 outside of a New York City hotel. Fox's Kaylee Schuyler joins us now live outside of the courthouse in New York with more on the story. Kaylee, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Shanu and Tom. So the status conference is expected to start at 11 a.m. Eastern, and the defense is trying to throw out two of Mangione's counts. Murder through the use of a firearm that would make him eligible for the death penalty. They also want another firearm offense dismissed. The hearing is expected to last at least an hour because the judges asked both sides to prepare oral arguments about the defense's motion to dismiss those counts. The defense is arguing Attorney General Pam Bondi has a conflict of interest because of her previous work for a lobbying firm that represents United Healthcare's parent group. Mangione's lawyers say those ties should disqualify Bondi from making decisions about the death penalty, but the prosecution says there is no conflict of interest. Mangione's team is also asking the judge for an evidentiary hearing to toss out some of the key evidence prosecutors want to use against him, including the suspected murder weapon and a notebook police found inside Mangione's backpack when they arrested him in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The defense says police searched the backpack without a warrant. Now, we aren't expecting any rulings from the bench today, but we are expecting to learn more about a trial date when court starts here in just over 2 hours. In New York, Kaylee Schuyler, Fox 9.
All right, something we will keep an eye on this morning. Thank you, Kaylee.
7:47 is the time. New artificial intelligence technology is looking to help you take your golf game to the next level. At this year's Consumer Electronics Show, the CES, one of the winners of this year's Innovation Awards is the Golfer's G-Grip and is the world's first AI integrated golf club. It will tell you if you're holding the club properly, and if not, it'll have some corrections for you.
I wanted to know what people are doing in their hands grip-wise, so I wanted actually simple grip pressure grip, and there was none. So that's how I came up with the grip pressure sensor and motion sensor embedded inside the golf grip.
How about that? You've got your instructor in the palm of your hands there. Joe is hoping the Generation Golf Club can expand players' skill sets.
I don't think you need that, Tom. I think you're pretty good already.
I
think you're good.
I need a lot of help.
Well, happening today with recently proposed data centers across Minnesota gaining a lot of attention and criticism over energy impacts. Xcel Energy is set to speak on that issue and talk about the future of nuclear energy. So this will be a part of the Federal Reserve's 9th annual Regional Economic Conditions Conference. Xcel's CEO will join the president of the Reserve Bank of Minneapolis to discuss how the surge in AI and data processing is driving energy demand, while also looking at new ways to power the grid and the economic impacts data centers have.
That's just such a big drain on our power source, that is for sure.
All right, getting over to Keith for the weather. You driving okay this morning?
A couple of places here and there, Keith, but you could see they'd put down the salt at the intersections, especially. You could see a lot of salt out there because we still have some slippery spots to face.
Plenty of them, certainly, and they are quite sneaky and slippery as you go on out the board. We had fresh rain yesterday evening. That's what we talked about yesterday, how we would have rain. We would maintain thawed temperatures throughout the precipitation run through the evening and overnight hours, and then after the rain left, we would then freeze up at some point after midnight. Well, it was well after midnight that the temperatures dropped below freezing. It was well before midnight that the precipitation left the metro. And we only had officially just 12/100ths at the airport, only 100th of an inch in the far northwest metro, a 1/4 inch, though, in the southeast metro, and then a 1/2 inch plus down in Rochester, and over an inch just across the border in La Crosse. So again, this was a southeastern Minnesota, southern Wisconsin affair with only a glancing blow as far northwest as the Twin Cities. So a lot of opportunity opportunities in several hours for that to dry up before temperatures fell below freezing in the Twin Cities. And with a bit of a northwest breeze, a lot of that did dry up. But with some thawing, with a high of 37 yesterday, a lot of things melted off as well. So just extra moisture in general, and then temperatures below freezing this morning. Plenty of fresh, slippery spots abound. And it's that thin sheen that's the worst, because that's the darkest of the ice, the black ice, and that sheen ice that's around that just kind of adds that extra. That's the stepping kind that makes it slippery. 28 degrees with a northwest wind at 10 gives us a wind chill of 19 as we walk on out the door. Nice and bright. A little bit of a haze and a different differential there, and different layers of the cloud deck gives us a filter. But as we're kind of breaking free of that at the moment, we'll see kind of extra clouds roll on in toward the back part of the day. That's part of a clipper system that will dive on in. But plenty of brighter moments for the first half of the day. Some sunshine gives way to partly sunny conditions this afternoon, and then ultimately mostly cloudy toward the evening, and then ultimately as well some light snow showers overnight tonight. Dusting to a ½ inch possible, maybe some isolated inches up north or northeast, and then a few scattered flurries into the day tomorrow. But a high around 32 today. We'll tease a thaw. We'll fall to around 20-ish overnight tonight, and then we don't do anything with that. Gusty breezes keep us around the teens to lower 20s into the day tomorrow. Just static, and a churning flow keeps us blustery, and again isolated flurries and light flakes fly through the day on Saturday. By Sunday we break free of that cloud cover somewhat. Partly sunny sky, highs more seasonable with a southwest flow in the middle 20s, which is about average for this time of year. Put it together in the forecast then for today. Teasing a thaw, partly sunny sky on average with a high around 32 degrees. Falling off to around 20 tonight, and then staying there tomorrow with off and on light flakes and flurries, especially tonight into early tomorrow morning, and then back to seasonable temperatures in the middle 20s with patchy sunshine on Sunday. Sunshine in upper 30s on Monday, a chance for some rain to some evening flakes and around 40 by Tuesday, and then back to the 20s again heading into the middle days of next week. The Fox 9 Morning News will return. We're back right after the break.
You're watching Fox 9 Morning News at 7 a.m.
The Minnesota Wild coming off a much-needed win last night against the Seattle Kraken. Before the game, players were asked a viral internet question: what sport they would play if they were more athletic?
What sport would you play if you were more athletic?
More athletic? If no hockey?
If you were more athletic.
What is it more athletic?
Like if you were a better athlete.
Oh, better athlete. I'm sure maybe should be just run like long distance.
Like the mile or more?
More, like long distance.
Okay, run. Show me.
I'm so good.
Yeah, he thought about that and wanted to be a runner. Okay. Interesting. All right. It is 7:55. We're going to have much more from the Wild's game coming up in our next hour. You're taking a live look here in White Bear Lake this morning, and yeah, look at that. It looks cold there, but it doesn't feel too bad. Just a little slippery out there to start the day. So we will get you a quick checkup with Keith Marler here in just a little bit, coming up after the break.
$7:59. Thanks for waking up with the Fox 9 Morning News. Friday Light. I think we can officially call it that as we approach 8 a.m. 394 looking good. No backup toward 94 in the Lowry Tunnel in downtown Minneapolis. No backups anywhere across the Twin Cities. All your drive times looking great this morning. 13 minutes from Shoreline Drive in Wayzata across 394 to downtown Minneapolis. No delays in between the Twin Cities, and things looking good between Woodbury and St. Paul. 10 minutes from Keats Avenue to downtown. This is what your big map has been looking like all day. We are seeing some slick spots across the Twin Cities, but haven't seen a crash in an hour. Just be mindful on your driveway, sidewalks, your neighborhood streets, anything that might be untreated from last night. Could get a little bit slick, but for the most part, looking good as you step out the door. More drive times coming up in 15 minutes, and the Fox 9 Morning News at 8 starts right now.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News.
With ICE agents targeting the Twin Cities, thousands of students now staying home from school. We've got more on the big changes some districts are making as we wait to hear teachers calling for schools to be off limits. Tom.
Plus, state leaders are calling for a renewed partnership between the Minnesota BCA and the FBI as the investigation into the deadly shooting continues.
Plus, I'll know here at 8, the latest jobs report was just released. We're breaking down the numbers and what this could mean for the future of our economy. The Fox 9 Morning News at 8 o'clock starts right now.
Live and local all morning. This is Fox 9 Morning News at 8 a.m.
Well, good morning to you and welcome to the broadcast on this Friday. Good to have you with us. 8 o'clock hour of the Fox 9 Morning News. I'm Tom Butler.
I'm Leah Bino. Yeah, let's get right over to Keith Marler for a check of our forecast. And it's kind of, beautiful.
Oh,
that is a welcome sight.
Yes. I was waiting for your instant interrupted reaction as soon as that popped
You know me well.
I know that is what happened. 26 degrees feels like 17 as we walk out the door. We picked up some rain last night. That rain, though, has led to some scattered slippery spots, but we'll tease a thaw today. We'll see a few late day clouds, even a skiff of snow tonight possible. I'll have all the details coming up starting at 8:09, guys.
All right, Keith, thank you. And happening right now, Education Minnesota is holding a news conference demanding ICE stay away from Minnesota schools.
Organization President Monica Barron is set to speak. Let's listen in. It looks like she's already at the podium.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Monica Byron, MONICA-BYRON. I'm an educator on leave from the Richfield Public Schools, and I am the president of Education Minnesota. We called this press conference today to join in the statewide Day of Unity declared by Governor Walz. We want to thank Governor Walz and every elected leader across this state who is standing up for the people of Minnesota. What is happening right now in Minneapolis is an unprecedented threat to the safety of all Minnesotans, brought upon by our own federal government. We all know what tragedies have happened in Minneapolis, but the ICE oppression is reaching every corner of our state. We have members reporting ICE terrorizing students in St. Paul, Bloomington, Columbia Heights, Burnsville, Fridley, Richfield, West St. Paul, Osseo, and Apple Valley. We have seen ICE agents in Roseville circling school property, just waiting for families to pick up their children. In Greater Minnesota, students in St. Cloud, St. James, and Rochester are afraid to go to school for fear of being harassed, assaulted, or worse by the very people our government was sent to protect us. We have seen our students assaulted and our colleagues wrongfully detained. Every moment ICE remains near our schools endangers children, educators, and families. Beyond the physical danger, ICE's actions directly undermine teaching and learning. Just in the last 2 days, an elementary school was placed on lockdown, and schools in Minnesota's largest city were forced to close. That's 2 days of learning our students will never get back. Parents should never have to choose between their children's safety and learning. Yet seats are empty in Minnesota's classrooms across the state right now as families are keeping their students at home. They are just trying to keep them safe. This disruption comes on top of the ongoing fear and emotional harm students experience when ICE operates in their communities. As Minnesotans and Americans, We agree that schools must be places of safety, learning, and belonging. This is not a partisan issue, it's a moral one. We demand that ICE operations be kept away from schools so students, educators, and staff can learn and work in safety and peace. Finally, as part of this day of unity declared by Governor Walz, we urge our members and the public to join us in acts of service and a moment of silence at 10 a.m. today to honor the life of Renee Nicole Good. Now, I'd like to introduce Katina Taylor. She's the president of the ESP chapter of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators.
Thank you, Monica. Good morning, everyone. My name is Katina Taylor, C-A-T-I-N-A, last name Taylor, T-A-Y-L-O-R. I am an educator in Minneapolis Public Schools and the president of the Educational Support Professionals chapter of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators. Let me make one thing crystal clear before we go any further. We need ICE out of Minneapolis now. We need ICE out of Minnesota now. We need ICE away from our schools now. Since arriving, ICE has been a dangerous and out of control force, putting every Minnesotan in danger. A mother was murdered. An elementary school was forced to lock down. Grown men used pepper spray on terrified high school students on school property. And that was just on Wednesday. This is the opposite of protecting our kids. This is the opposite of keeping the peace. Nothing about this is okay. Nothing. As educators, we give everything that we have to support and protect Minnesota's next generation. We need our federal government to do the same. Our schools should be a safe place for students and educators to learn and work. As long as ICE is in Minnesota, we won't be safe. Nope. On this day of mourning, our hearts go out to Renee Good and her family. To make sure no one else has to suffer this devastating loss, ICE needs to stay away from all of our schools starting today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katina. Next, I'd like to introduce Chris Erickson, the president of the St. Cloud Education Association.
Thank you, Monica. My name's Chris Erickson, C-H-R-I-S-E-R-I-C-K-S-O-N. And I'm a media specialist in St. Cloud, but currently serving as a full-time release president of the St. Cloud Education Association. I'm here today to talk to you about the toll the unlawful ICE activity is taking near our public schools and the anxiety and fear it has caused our students and educators. The anxiety when educators walk into their classroom each morning, unsure of whose desk will be empty that day. The fear as they load their students onto the bus at the end of the day, not knowing whether that child will return to their family or to an empty house. The worry for their own safety and their colleagues. This constant worry is actively harming our staff and our students. It has changed the shape of our workday as we've put new protocols in place to try and keep everyone safe. Next week, we're scheduled to have parent-teacher conferences. This is a vital time for us to discuss our students' academic progress with parents. But right now, we're looking at doing parent-teacher conferences differently because many parents do not feel safe coming to our schools because of the fear of being taken away from their schools, their homes, and their workplaces. I had a special education teacher who works with students with physical and cognitive disabilities, and she shared with me that one of her students stated in a message to her, "I'm afraid to go to school." This came from a student who's always excited to come to school and who needs to be at school. We have other educators who need to go to students' home to work with some of our most vulnerable students. And they are now reporting to me that some families are refusing to open the door, and others are unenrolling their children. Public education's a right, and every child in Minnesota deserves to attend a public school that is safe and welcoming. But that cannot happen as long as ICE remains in Minnesota. They need to leave our state, and they need to leave our schools now. They need to leave us alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next, I'd like to introduce...
And we've been listening to Education Minnesota, a news conference they have, talking about ICE operations and schools, and the fact that the union president says that they've felt harassed at schools by these ICE agents and asked ICE to stay away from the schools. We heard from another educator, a member of the union, a more fervent speech saying that she wants ICE out of Minnesota.
Yeah, the president of Education Minnesota, a couple of representatives from St. Cloud, from Minneapolis, and those comments are continuing, and I know we have those streaming online as well. All right, switching, we're going to get over to Keith Marler for a check of our forecast on this Friday, and looking forward to the weekend, Keith.
Indeed. We got plenty of some sunshine, filtered as it may be. 26. We do have some fresh, slippery spots from our light rain that we picked up yesterday evening. It wrapped up before midnight, and temperatures stayed thawed for a good chunk of the night, not falling below freezing until we started to see that cloud cover break up several hours ago now. But we stayed thawed for several hours after the rain wrapped up. The rain wrapped up in far southeastern Minnesota, though, just about 3 or 4 o'clock this morning. As we go on out the door, we'll see this continue to be nice and bright for a good chunk of the day today, but extra clouds will start to roll on in toward the mid to late afternoon and toward the evening hours. That's part of a clipper system that brings a dash of snow tonight, but we're not going to warm up a ton. Heading back to around 32 this afternoon, flirting with a thaw. And that's only really around the Twin Cities and a few communities around the state. A lot of folks capping out around 30 or 31 as we go on into the afternoon hours, so just teasing that thaw. Widespread temperatures in the 20s for most, still around 30 in Red Wing, 34 though in Winona and La Crosse, the last to see those rain showers leave, and some single digits still grabbing hold in Detroit Lakes and Bemidji with wind chills. And then I knock you down a little bit there with that northwest flow reinforcing that cooler feel for the day today compared to where we've been. Again, the past several days have thawed in the afternoon. We're still well above average, though. Average high is 24. We're still heading above that for most folks. Again, sunshine to start you off, but our next wave of clouds is rolling on in. That wave of clouds was part of a clipper system that will bring some very light snowflakes overnight tonight, but picking up a dusting to a ½ inch overnight tonight in the metro, but maybe up to an inch in northeastern sections of Minnesota, if not a little bit more. 32 degrees for a high, though, for today. As we go into the day, we'll build some clouds. A skiff of snow overnight tonight, going down to around 20, and then off and on light flakes and flurries. Not doing anything with those temperatures for a blustery, colder day for your day on Saturday. More details on that 7-day forecast coming up at 8:19. The Fox 9 Morning News continues with more right after this break.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today.
Here comes
Good morning, 8:16. Thanks for waking up with the Fox 9 Morning News. Still looking quiet across the Twin Cities. We've been crash-free for the majority of the morning. No brake lights, even here in Spaghetti Junction, just north of downtown St. Paul, 35E 94 University Avenue, all looking good. Headed in and out of the Capitol this morning. 16 minutes from Hudson over the Wisconsin border into downtown St. Paul, just north of that, 36 looking good as well. No problems coming in from Cottage Grove or from Bloomington into downtown from the south side. This is what your map's been looking like all morning, all green across the board. It's what we like to see to kick off the weekend. Tom and Leah, I'll have another look at drive times in about 15 minutes.
All right, we'll look for that. Thank you, Lauren. Well, new here at 8, a new jobs report is offering a snapshot into our economy and a glimpse into what the new year could hold.
A little crystal ball here. The latest numbers show a sluggish year for the labor market, but the unemployment rate is ticking down a bit. That's good news. Pat Recamp, a senior financial writer for 1834, division of Old National Bank, joins us with a closer look at where things stand. Pat, good morning to you and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about this because we know overall jobs were added.
Yes.
And we're talking non-farm jobs here. What's the latest data?
Right now it's looking about 50,000 jobs were added. That's below expectations, but it's okay. We're still kind of in this no fire, no hire scenario is what we're calling it. Again, people aren't adding a ton of jobs or companies aren't adding jobs, but we're not seeing a ton of layoffs either.
Those that are adding jobs, what are we seeing?
Right now, it looks like bars and restaurants for the month of December and the healthcare industry. That continues to be the juggernaut as the country gets older and sicker, frankly. That tends to be the big one. A lot of talk about artificial intelligence. However, R2-D2 can't change a bedpan or take blood pressure yet.
That's a very good point, yes.
That is very true. I mean, you think about all those jingle bars that we all went to. That's why you had to have more workers.
There you go, yeah.
Which industries continue to kind of look at the bigger picture here as far as the last report from 2025? And what is that saying when they're looking at that for the economy?
So retail was down for December, but I think for the year ahead, things are actually looking pretty positive. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the Trump tax cuts that the Republicans passed too, that's going to be stimulative in nature. I think a lot of companies will be incentivized to hire, so that's looking pretty good. Also, baby boomers are retiring, which is going to open up positions for people as well.
Yeah, right.
Everyone who is looking for a job or maybe they're looking to switch jobs is always looking for a better paycheck. What are we seeing as far as pay, wages, raises?
This was probably the most positive aspect in the data. As we saw wages go up 3.8% year over year. That's higher than November's year over year number, and also it's outpacing inflation by a stronger clip, which I think always matters, right? Because if you get a 3% pay raise, but inflation goes up by 5, 6, 10%, whatever, you're falling behind.
Which we did have for a while.
Absolutely.
Now we're closer to the 2% mark.
We're getting closer to that. Yeah. Inflation's coming down and wages were up, at least the most recent data. So that's positive.
And let's look ahead into 2026 and just generally, how are things shaping up as we kind of approach this new year?
I think overall things look better than 2025 is what we're expecting. 2025 wasn't awful, but it was sluggish. We saw slower wage growth, slower job gains for the most part. 2026 could be better in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, a lot of people worried about tariffs and how that was going to all play out, and so now we've kind of seen how that's playing out.
Tariffs made a lot of headlines. I think the actual disruption, and as far as the inflationary impacts, they weren't nearly as impactful as we were expecting. Right. And again, I think the big tariff, the Supreme Court might rule on tariffs later today, so that could, I'll come back maybe next week, or who knows, we might have a different answer.
Well, it might be Monday.
Yeah, yeah, it's
we'll
true.
see.
We're definitely looking for the decision on that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Pat Recamp from 1834, division of Old National Bank. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate
Good seeing you.
Good seeing you.
Let's talk weather. Meteorologist Keith Marler in today talking about what to expect for not only our Friday, but the weekend. Hi, Keith.
Hey, good morning, guys. Taking a look at how we shaped up precipitation-wise. You can see that the colors just painting, mainly the east and the southeast side of town, which we talked about yesterday. We'd be on the northwest side of those rain showers as they cut across the area as a whole, picking up a few hundredths of an inch on the west and the northwest metro. Only 1/100th of an inch in Rockford and Rogers, 300ths in Maple Grove, 900ths, barely just clearing just shy of a 10th in Minnetonka. Getting about a 10th in Minneapolis and Roseville, just a tick over that in Edina. Just about 10th and a half in Cottage Grove, if you will. A 1/4 inch almost in Rosemount. Into Hastings, 2/10ths as well. And then we widen out officially in the metro, coming in at 1,200 0.02 of an inch. Just almost 0.2 in Faribault and in Owatonna. Not quite there in Red Wing, but then all of a sudden in Rochester, getting up to about a ½ inch of rain. Over an inch in La Crosse and about 1/3 of an inch in Eau Claire. That's where the bulk of the rain fell. And it was all rain, not mixing with into any snow until the very end of it all in the wee hours of the morning in southeastern Minnesota. But for the metro, all rain all the time, as we stayed with temperatures in the mid-30s for the bulk of the overnight hours, not falling below freezing until really just before the show this morning. 26 degrees currently with a northwest wind at 9, feeling like 17. Now that the skies really opened up, we've seen those temperatures fall off quite nicely. We started the show this morning back even in the 5 o'clock hour. Even the 6 o'clock hour, we were still right around 30 degrees. Area of low pressure that helps cause this, bringing in the rain and finally changing into snow across the UP into Ontario. Gusty breezes just kind of blowing across sections of Michigan down into Indiana and Ohio this morning, bringing that rain along with it, and some severe weather at times, even popping down into Indiana and parts of Kentucky into the day-to-day. But for us behind that, breaks in the cloud cover exist for the day, but our next wave of clouds coming in some much colder air behind a clipper system that dives on down from Canada and keeps the weekend a little chillier and certainly more January-esque for us, and brings a little dash of some snow our way for tonight and into tomorrow. For today, though, some sunshine for the first part of the day, and then partly sunny to mostly cloudy for the late afternoon and evening hours. Then ultimately, little skiffs of snow overnight tonight, picking up a dusting to a ½ inch possible into tomorrow morning. Closer to an inch plus in northern Minnesota overall, but low wind to bounce. Then off and on flurries with some cloud cover as temperatures hang around 20 for the day on Saturday. Much colder, and especially with the cloud cover and those gusty breezes, those wind chills will take a bite for a blustery day on Saturday. A far cry from what we've been doing overall. As we go on into the day on Sunday, we'll get back some partial sunshine, and with a southwestern flow, we'll bounce back to the mid-ish to upper 20s as we go on into more of a seasonable plus day into our Sunday afternoon, and then we thaw out again into early next week. So for today, 32 degrees, teasing a thaw. That's about all we can do. A dash of some light snow tonight and into the day tomorrow with some minor accumulations, but temperatures chilly and holding. Then back to the mid-20s and seasonable with some partial sunshine on Sunday. We get warm again, upper 30s and sunshine on Monday, back to around 40 with some rain to some evening flakes on Tuesday, then back down again to the middle 20s into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. The Fox 9 Morning News rolls on. We're back after this.
Welcome back to Fox 9 Morning News at 8 a.m.
Welcome back. I'm Cody Matz. Coming up on 9 on Fox 9 Good Day, could happy hour becoming a thing of the past? Why more young professionals are actually skipping out on drinks after work. Plus, humans aren't the only ones that struggle with joint problems, especially in the winter. Dr. Eric is in with advice on how to provide relief for our pets. Also, a bill out of Florida taking aim at extending recess into 8th grade. Yeah, middle schoolers. While lawmakers there are pushing for more free play time. And a crepe recipe that's perfect for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We're showing off the farmers market's inspired recipes coming up on Good Day at 9 o'clock. Stick around. Fox 9 Morning News return after this.
Welcome back to the Fox 9 Morning News. Now here's your weather on the 9s.
As we go through the day today, bright and frozen. Temperatures outside right now in the mid-20s, building to the mid to upper 20s as we move on into that 9 o'clock hour. Good sunshine, but we'll see a few patchy clouds build as we move on into that lunch hour or so. Northwest winds remain fairly light, 5 to 10 miles per hour. But we flirt with a thaw again. But that's only for the Twin Cities and maybe a few other little communities decorating parts of our southern viewing area as we get back to around 32 degrees this afternoon. Doing our best to just get there for maybe an hour or so at times this afternoon. So not a lot of help there. That sun will help out for southern facing surfaces and surfaces with a little bit of an angle to them. Getting a little melt going on. We'll keep temperatures with clouds building as we go on into the evening hours, hovering near 30 and there into the overnight hours as well. But they'll slowly drop off closer to 20 by tomorrow morning. Between now and then, we'll see a few light flakes fly as we get a couple of little light flurries going too. Some of those flakes start to add up. We'll get a dash of light snow, maybe up to a ½ inch in the Twin Cities into tomorrow morning. We'll keep that going into the day on Saturday as temperatures hold, though. Once we get to around 20 into tomorrow morning, we have no motivation to warm up through the day on Saturday. It'll get blustery as well. We'll rebound into the day on Sunday, and then we'll start to thaw out again next week, but that's not after, and we'll get through a cold weekend ahead. I'll have more details coming up on that 7 day in just about 19 minutes, but right now, let's get a check of traffic. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning. Here at 8:30, roads are looking great. I think that sunshine is helping with road conditions, which are mainly looking dry here. In the last 2 hours, we've seen 0 crashes, 1 spin out across the Twin Cities and beyond. Things looking good in and out of Minneapolis. 35W at Johnson Street looking quiet. Our low traffic volume quiet has been helping out as well this morning. Speeds are looking good from Burnsville into Minneapolis and St. Paul, as well as Forest Lake into Minneapolis and St. Paul. No problems on 35W, 35E, or any of your interstates. Everything looking good in between Minneapolis and St. Paul. 494 also looking good if you have some weekend plans somewhere warm heading to the airport. One, I'm jealous of you. 2, things looking good heading to MSP. Tom and Leah will have one final look at drive times coming up in about 20 minutes.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Lauren. 8:31 is the time. Continuing coverage for you this morning. The FBI is now blocking the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the BCA, from helping with the investigation into Wednesday's deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis.
After that announcement came out yesterday, our state leaders are pushing for the Minnesota BCA to be included. Our Chanu Her is live in the Live Center with more on what we can expect. Hello, Chanu.
Hey, hello guys. In about a half hour at 9 o'clock this morning, Minneapolis city and state leaders are holding a press conference to call for not only transparency but also accountability after that ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good on Wednesday. Now, leaders at the Minnesota BCA say the FBI first invited them to be a part of that investigation, then changed their minds and went on to cut the BCA out of any participation with this investigation. It's standard for the Bureau to investigate shooting by federal law enforcement, but state leaders say it's unusual for the FBI to block state investigators from seeing any of their work. Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson says now it will be hard for the state to investigate.
It would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, without cooperation from the federal government.
Commissioner Jacobson says he believes the BCA is needed in this investigation to establish the public's trust in this whole process. Now, that news conference expected to start in about a half an hour here, so we'll be on top of that. We'll keep you updated on what comes out of that and also just any other developments in the shooting investigation. You can also head to our website, fox9.com, or the Fox Local app, which has all the latest information and more extensive coverage of this incident. Guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Chanu.
Time now is 8:33. Governor Tim Walz has declared a day of unity today. He's inviting all Minnesotans and Americans to participate in acts of service, of honor, and remembrance of the woman who was killed in the shooting, 37-year-old Renee Good. Governor Walz is also encouraging people, businesses, and other organizations to observe a moment of silence at 10 this morning.
Also new this morning, comedian John Mulaney is postponing his Minneapolis shows due to the ICE shooting. He had 3 shows scheduled at the Armory this weekend, the first originally scheduled for tonight. In a social media post, Mulaney says he doesn't feel comfortable asking people to leave their homes when the situation is unsafe. He says tickets for this weekend will be honored for the rescheduled dates coming up in April.
Again, there's a lot more to the story, and Fox 9 has extensive coverage for you on the deadly ICE shooting and protest. You can head to our website, fox9.com, or our Fox Local app. You can find anything streaming live on the app.
Oh, we have so much more here on the Fox 9 Morning News at 8 o'clock, including one sculpture is returning to the Minneapolis Institute of Art for the first time in several years. A lot of people looking forward to this.
It's pretty cool. How you can see this rare Shang Dynasty bronze owl. Look at that. And what's next for this exhibit? Speaking of MIA, let's check in with our Shane Wells. Hi, Shane.
Good morning. We are at the Minneapolis Institute of Art as they unveil these beautiful frozen creations. They take some of the art from inside and then replicate it. This is just a tiny Viking ship inside the gallery. Here you can see larger than life. We'll have more. We'll walk you around the courtyard coming up after the break.
Kansas. Bill. Now on Fox 9 Morning News at 8 a.m.
Welcome back. Oh, would you take a look at that sunshine? I love to see that on our Friday morning. Striving for that 32-degree mark here on our Friday. So partially cloudy, but as you can see, we are seeing lots of sun, some steady temps, teasing that thaw right there on the edge of it. But overall, a pretty nice day. So get out there, grab the sunglasses, and soak up some of that sunshine while we have it. All right, time now, 8:38. A rare Shang Dynasty bronze owl known as the Pillsbury owl returns to the Minneapolis Institute of Art's lobby for the first time since 2023. That year, you'll recall, it was damaged by a visitor. To celebrate its return, a monumental ice sculpture inspired by the owl will be one of the event's centerpieces. The bronze sculpture will remain in the lobby until the end of the month before preparations begin for a permanent installation that is set to open up later in April. But looks pretty good right there. All right, now, as it goes without saying, the Mia is known for its sculptures, both inside and outside. Shane Wells is there this morning as they debut a glistening new gallery.
Good morning. Some of the most famous pieces inside the Minneapolis Institute of Art are now on display outside as well. Just a little bit of a different recreation. Rob Badeau is with us, with Mia. All right, give us the scoop on this year's creations.
Yeah, so every year we do a series of ice sculptures out here at Mia in the Target Park. It's a great chance to take some of the artwork outside that's inside and give you a chance to see it in a different context. We've got about 9 pieces here this year that range from some of the lions that guard the front of the museum to some favorites like Veiled Lady as well as Your Dog.
How do you guys decide what is going to be whittled into ice?
Yeah, it's a really fun process. One of the things that we try and do is make sure that the artworks that we're going to use represent nicely in ice, and that they also have just a great feeling. We also have several partnerships that we are working with this year. That includes the Lopit. All the lanterns you see along here were provided by them, so it was a super fun thing to work with them and bring in some additional partners. We also are working with the World Snow Celebration and have one of the pieces that will be carved in snow next week here in ice that people can take a look at.
Oh, so we're getting a little preview.
You are. Team Mexico, their piece is the one that we've got here, and we can take a look at that around the other side.
Were you guys given a heads up then of all of the entries for the Stillwater event and picked, or how did you come up with this one?
Yeah, the team at Stillwater shared with us all of the different sculptures that were going to be on view. We took a look at them, and again, like I said at the beginning, finding something that's really dynamic that will translate well into ice. Team Mexico's piece really sort of had that look and feel. Nice playfulness to it. We thought it would look great out here in carved in the courtyard.
And we want to wrap it up here. This one's significant. It has an indoor-outdoor tie-in.
Yeah, so this is a Chinese bronze owl. It's been at the museum since the 1950s, known as the Pillsbury owl. We had him in Japan for some restoration recently, and he's just returned home. Went on view in the lobby yesterday, and we have an ice sculpture to go along with him. So come on in. Only for the month of January will he be on view until he gets reinstalled in one of the galleries.
Got it. Okay. So he'll be here for a long time. Mia's always open except Mondays, but this might be a little bit short-lived.
Yeah, the weather isn't cooperating this year so much, so if you want to come and see the ice sculptures, I would say come this weekend. Monday looks like it's going to be fairly warm, so.
Okay, good advice, Rob. Thank you, appreciate it. Back to you guys.
Yeah, the melting, not good for that. So get there while you can. All right, still much more ahead here on the Fox 9 Morning News, including 2 new brands are being added to Target shelves nationwide, and they're made here in Minnesota. Plus, one Minneapolis suburb is making headlines as many look for a new place to live. Why this suburb ranks high on the list, even with higher prices compared to others on the list. We'll dig into that when we return.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today. Back to Fox 9 Morning News at 8 a.m.
Good looking shot. Nice to see the sun with us as we get going on this Friday. Just helps, just does. 8:45 is the time. A Minneapolis suburb is getting national attention as one of the best places in the country for first-time home buyers, even with higher home prices.
Yeah, and Target is expanding its wellness aisle, adding 2 homegrown brands to stores all across the nation. So that's pretty exciting. Caitlin Anderson joins us from the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal with more on these. A couple of business headlines that we're following. Good morning. Happy New Year, since we haven't seen you in the new year. Okay, getting into the top places to live. St. Louis Park ranking 8th in the nation on this list. Tell us more.
Yeah, so this ranking is from the home listing website Realtor.com. And so on this list, actually St. Louis Park was the highest priced of the top 10. So with a median home price of about $370,000. To compare, other ones on that list didn't even top over $250,000. So quite a bit higher than others on that list. But the reason this is on this list, despite that kind of high ticket price, sticker price, is really because it's 10% more affordable when you take into account the rest of the metro. So that's really because of the higher incomes that people in St. Louis Park are making compared to what it is to the cost of the home.
Right, and it's a different demographic, it sounds like, there in St. Louis Park, where you have younger people in their 30s, even in their 20s, who are moving into that area. And is that kind of what we're seeing, or what's attracting them to that area? Is part of it just what you have to offer there as far as your infrastructure? Is it safety? Is it a combination?
Well, so part of the ranking, so the 2 main factors for this ranking were the affordability piece as well as the local amenities, so like shopping and restaurant availabilities. And so when you think about St. Louis Park, I mean, not only does it have like areas like the West End, where you're seeing this huge kind of area, concentrated area of mixed uses with shopping, retail, you have like fitness there, you have residential, office, everything in that area. On top of just being a first-ring suburb, I mean, it's easy commute if you're going downtown, also near the chain of lakes. So a lot of stuff right there.
It's a very nice suburb, no doubt about it.
Lots to offer, without a doubt. All right, switching to Target, adding 2 new wellness brands as part of a big expansion. Tell us about this.
Yes, so 2, homegrown brands. So one is So Good So You. They're known for their organic cold pressed juice shots. And then another is Seek. It's a clear protein powder
with
brand.
With a Q at the end,
With a Q at the end, yes. And so these...
Seek and ye shall find, but a different one. All right.
Yes, and so bringing in these products, so wellness products, is part of a expansion for Target to bring in more of these types of products in 2026. And really what they're saying is that this is kind of a natural progression for the company in that their customers are already seeking out wellness products.
Obviously, it has to do with this as to why they're probably delving into this market. Is this a big category, emerging and growing category?
Yeah, it is. It is one that, you're seeing more of these products pop up and be popular. Even, I see it on social media. You're now seeing it on store shelves too. Yeah, influencers might have something to do with that too. There's some of that.
True. Yeah, some of that trend definitely going on. I mean, obviously we're celebrating though, and it's somebody who's companies that are born and raised and growing out of Minnesota. Do we expect to see more of this?
I mean, Target, their headquarters are here. So, I mean, one of the first maybe hopeful would be to look, locally. So maybe we'll see more.
Right.
The future.
Well, Caitlin, thanks so much for stopping in. We appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day and a good weekend.
Thank you so
Always
much.
good having you here.
Thank you.
Caitlin Anderson from MSPBJ. And if you'd like to get your Business Journal news, you can get it 24/7 by going to their website. It's mspbj.com. Thanks again.
Good stuff. All right, switching over to 8:49, our forecast, looking toward just kind of pulling the weekend closer and closer by the hour here, Keith.
That's exactly right. As we look across the swath of where that precipitation fell over the course of our evening and overnight hours last night, we were on just the northern cusp of it all, the northwestern cusp of it in the Twin Cities. We talked about how this would be a kind of skimming through southeastern Minnesota, mainly from Iowa into southern Wisconsin. That's where we saw the inch plusers down in La Crosse and parts of southern Wisconsin, but a half inch in Rochester as it skimmed on by, but only about 2/10 of an inch to a quarter inch from Owatonna, Faribault into the southeast metro, a quarter inch near Cottage Grove. But the airport only 0.12 of an inch, only 100th of an inch up in Rogers, 300ths of an inch up in Maple Grove and parts of the northwest metro, 100th of an inch in Cambridge, 300ths of an inch in Windham. This was all rain for most of us out there. There was a little snow mixing in at the very end of this down in far southeastern Minnesota as it went rolling on by. Most of us saw, again, just rain showers as we were in the mid-30s for not just for the rain, but for most of the night last night, falling into those lower 30s, but still thawing into the wee hours of the morning and finally freezing up as we went just into about 3 o'clock or so this morning or so, then below freezing into the show this morning. So we got sunshine out the door now. We've broken up that cloud cover. Nice and bright for the first part of the day. We're at our coldest temperatures at 26 degrees now. Northwest winds at 9 give us a wind chill in the teens. All this is above average. As an average high temperature for January the 9th is 24 degrees. We're above that for our morning low. We're going to bounce back, but not very far today. With that northern and northwestern flow bringing in that cooler air, we're only going to pick up 4, 5, 6 degrees on the day, get back to around 32 this afternoon. That's with a lot of sunshine this morning, giving way to some partial sunshine midday to some extra clouds by the time the sun's going on down. So technically increasing cloud cover, but bright enough for most of the day overall. Sunshine to partly cloudy for most of the first part of the day, then partly to mostly cloudy sky heading on into the afternoon hours. Northwestern flow keeps temperatures locked into the mainly lower 30s, but only a handful of us actually get to that brief thaw that we'll end up with for the early afternoon hours. Overnight tonight, these clouds are coming from an approaching clipper system. They're bringing some very light snow showers overnight tonight. We'll pick up some minor accumulations, just enough to be slippery, so to speak, into your late night plans or early tomorrow morning. Little dashes and maybe a dusting to a half inch possible off and on through the night tonight and into your Saturday morning. Closer to an inch plus in northeastern Minnesota, but again, just enough to be slippery. As we go through the day on Saturday, we'll keep the cloud cover around with blustery breezes out of the northwest, so temperatures aren't going to go anywhere. After an overnight low around 20, we'll stay there through the day tomorrow, but with that northwestern flow, 10 to 20 miles per hour and gusty, our wind chills will stay in the single digits for tomorrow. And with that churning, turbulent flow, we'll keep some popcorn flurries going or some light snowbursts here and there through the day on Saturday as a whole. We'll break that up as we go into Sunday. We'll break out into some partial sunshine, and with southwestern flow, that will allow us to kind of get back into those mid-ish 20s, mid to upper 20s. That would be more closer to average overall, and then we'll build on that and we'll go back above freezing heading into Monday and Tuesday of next week. Put it together on a forecast then for today, teasing a thaw, a bit of sunshine, some fairly quiet conditions, steady temperatures once we get there into the lower 30s. A few light flakes tonight, a little dash of snow around 20, and then much cooler and breezy. Handful of flurries lingering, 21 degrees for your high on Saturday. Again, picking up a half inch or so, plus or minus, into your Saturday morning. Patchy sun in mid-20s on Sunday, then upper 30s to near 40 for Monday and Tuesday, but keeping an eye on a chance for some rain to some evening flakes, especially into the day on Tuesday. All right, let's get a check of traffic. Some scattered slippery spots left over from last night's rain still on those roadways this morning. Lauren?
Yeah, that is definitely the case. But right here at 8:53, it looks like roads have definitely improved. Conditions have improved. That sunshine helping us out. Very little to talk about in terms of crashes and spinouts, and your drive times have been excellent. Good morning to Maple Grove, 94 at Dayton Parkway. It was a slow-moving couple of mornings earlier this week here between Monticello to Rogers to Maple Grove, but not seeing any of that this morning. Northwest Metro drive times looking great. 20 minutes still from Monticello to Maple Grove. That drive time, it didn't really change this morning at all. 22 minutes between Elk River and Mounds View on Highway 10. Things looking good on the Forest Lake side of the North Metro as well. This is what your big map's been looking like all morning. It's what we call a Friday light in the traffic industry. What we like to see to kick off the weekend. Tom and Leah.
Oh, yes. Love that very much. So thank you, Lauren. All right. right, time now, 8:54. If you've noticed your kids are a little tired or a little extra moody lately, it could be due to the winter blues. But the Kids Mental Health Foundation is sharing some tips that maybe can help boost their mood. The foundation recommends using behavioral activation, which is doing something fun and connecting with people even if they may not feel like doing it. It's best to pick activities that fall into 3 categories: something fun, something to make them feel proud, and something to help them connect with others.
The reason that works is when you think about depression or symptoms of depression is it takes our energy and our motivation away. Behavior activation disrupts that.
Yeah, this is a helpful tool, but keep in mind if your child is in a slump every day for more than 2 weeks, that's when experts say it's time to seek out some help from a mental health professional.
We are saddened by the tragedy that occurred yesterday in our Minneapolis community in the loss of Renee Good. Our thoughts are with her family and everyone affected, and our hearts are with our community as we hope for healing and unity during this challenging time.
As fans gathered at Target Center, the Timberwolves addressed the fatal ICE shooting in Minneapolis by holding a moment of silence before last night's game. And it went on to be a good night for the Wolves.
As they get their 4th consecutive victory, Julius Randle had 28 points, helping Minnesota hang on to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 131-122. Plus, Anthony Edwards added 25 points, becoming the 3rd youngest player in NBA history to reach 10,000 career points. The Wolves go up against the Cavs again tomorrow afternoon, this time in Cleveland. Tip-off is at noon.
The scoring comes natural to him in a lot of ways. I think back to the first 40-point game he had in his rookie year down in Phoenix. At that point in time, you knew, there was something inside him where he could, get to that.
Ain't nothing. It's 1,000 million people that got 10,000 points. I gotta get some more than that. Yeah. Who the first 2? LeBron and KD. Oh yeah, I'm feeling good.
The Wolves go up against the Cavs, as I mentioned, again tomorrow, and that tip-off is at noon.
And, of course, he is a big fan of KD.
Kaprizov with Zuccarello. Kaprizov in. Zuccarello scores!
Well, finishing up their 2-week road trip with a game in Seattle and a late one going up against the Kraken. As you saw, Mats Zuccarello scoring off a feed from Kirill Kaprizov. Minnesota gets the win 3-2. Thanks for watching on this Friday. Hope to see you at 11 a.m. with Mr. Marler.
Fox 9 Good Days coming up next. Have a great day.
Day. We got Cody Matz joining us on this Friday morning.
Good morning.
And the busyness it continues.
It does.
Yeah.
It does indeed. All right, we start this morning with news from Minneapolis schools that impact a lot of families.
Yeah, students are now being offered the option to learn from home as ICE operations continue. The state's largest teachers union just held a news conference an hour ago. Commuter is in the Live Center with the very latest.
Well, yeah, we know Education Minnesota represents more than 84,000 teachers across the state. The union here says ICE actions are negatively affecting students, and some families are afraid to leave their homes because students no longer feel safe at school.
We have seen our students assaulted and our colleagues wrongfully detained. Every moment ICE remains near our schools endangers children, educators, and families. Beyond the physical danger, ICE's actions directly undermine teaching and learning. Just in the last 2 days, an elementary school was placed on lockdown, and schools in Minnesota's largest city were forced to close. That's 2 days of learning our students will never get back.
Now, according to a union member, 142 students did not go to school at Valley View Elementary School on Thursday. The union said e-learning may happen at more schools if ICE is operating in their districts. Minneapolis Public Schools is now offering students the option of learning from home until February 12th. Now, this is all according to Marcia Howard, the president of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators. All classes and activities are also canceled today. They were yesterday as well in Minneapolis. MPS says this decision was made out of caution. Now, Fridley and Columbia Heights Public Schools are also doing this. They are canceling classes today, citing safety concerns. We spoke with the Fridley School District, which says it's all due to ICE activity in the community. In Columbia Heights, some child care options will be open for regular hours and some will be closed. Right now at 9:02, though, we do want to also take a live look at Minneapolis City Hall this morning, where we do know the mayor, Jacob Fry, is expected to speak shortly. A news conference here as we continue covering more of the investigation into the deadly ICE shooting on Wednesday. They are going to be asking for more transparency and accountability into the investigation here after the FBI announced that they are barring the Minnesota BCA and state investigators to be a part of that investigation. So we will take you there live as soon as that press conference there kicks off at Minneapolis City Hall. But later this morning at 10 o'clock as well, we know Minneapolis Public Schools, families, and educators, they're going to be holding a news conference demanding ICE out of schools. And you can find all of those latest developments on this story on fox9.com. And again, we'll also bring you the latest on that press conference in Minneapolis with Mayor Jacob Fry here as soon as it kicks off. Cody, Shane, back to you.
All right, Chanu, thank you. We'll be standing by for that.
Indeed. All right, well, let's take a closer look at your weekend forecast because, well, we actually have some sun out there. That's nice. Maybe teasing a thaw this afternoon. We'll kind of flirt with that freeze mark later on today. We'll see some sunshine into the early afternoon. Then clouds will increase. There will be a dash of light snow late this evening into the overnight. A few flakes will be possible as we stretch kind of that into Saturday. Some dustings or minor coatings certainly possible. Then a little patchy sun on Sunday. Will be colder weekend, 20s, but that's pretty common for this time of the year before teasing 40 again early next week with a rain to snow mix as we kind of bounce back and forth between a thaw and a freeze for most of next week, but above average temperatures.
I was just going to ask you that. Those are not January temperatures.
That's not much of January. I mean, the weekend will feel closer to January, but next week, not so much.
I'm okay with that because I feel like we had January and December.
Kind of
so
did.
we got it out of the way. That's
sure.
Positive thinking.
Whatever you say.
Well, that's what I'll tell myself. All right. Next up, backlash to the chatbot that's associated with Twitter or X. It's called Grok, G-R-O-K. Now, it allows users to generate sexualized pictures of people, including children. And today, instead of disabling or redesigning the AI bot to protect people's images and likeness from these violations, the website put the features behind a paywall. So if you want to pay $8 for the premium, X Premium, you can still manipulate images. Some world leaders calling for an investigation into X. Now, some of the content that's been generated by Grok violates Twitter's own policies. Also could violate guidelines of Apple app and Google, the app stores as well.
It's interesting. I mean, so this has been going on for at least a little while, so it's kind of shown up in my feed. And there's a lot of people like playing around with it, and it's kind of you play around with it publicly because you ask, if you're not familiar, you essentially ask Grok to do something or say something or give you some stat. And so you can literally go on there, look, see an image and say, oh, I changed this to the body of Superman, and it'll do that. Now, to be fair and to be clear, I have seen it on my feed where some folks have tried to say, hey, make this picture inappropriate, take the clothing off. It won't do that. It will take some of it off and then post, AI, and it looks scrubbed anyway. So at least it's not able to post nude photos necessarily, but obviously adjusting imagery accordingly doesn't make it look great.
Right. There's a few female journalists and folks who have, you post an image of yourself at a football game. I'm just going to throw something out there, and then all of a sudden you see this picture and you're now in suggestive clothing and in suggestive positions, and you did not get permission for this, and it was not consensual, and it's your image that you posted. So, I mean, if I was a woman, for instance, I would not feel comfortable on an app like that where they do
anyone, really.
Anyone.
Yeah.
To be clear, yes. So it's interesting that it just, no, we just put it behind a paywall. I'm not going to fix it quite yet. Okay. All right, next up.
Sure.
Yeah. Bold. Experts are expecting new vehicle sales to slow. Maybe this isn't super surprising. Cox Automotive predicts the U.S. will see just under 16 million new vehicle sales in 2026. That would be a 2.5% decline from sales a year ago. New data from the past year found, too, that the households who earn more than $150,000, they're buying 43% of the new cars sold in the U.S. That's up from 30% in 2019. Now, the average new vehicle sales price hit above $50,000, or the average of $50,000 for the first time ever 3 months ago. And then so you hear that and you go, well, that's why we're not buying new cars.
Well, yeah, because I'm going to get this wrong, but it was something like 3 years ago, the average price of a car was like $36,000. So it's gone up like 40% in 3 or 4 years, which is crazy. And the reason why, obviously, the wealthier folks are the ones buying new cars.
Makes sense. All right, hey, we want to check back in on that press conference that we were telling you about earlier. It is underway.
One word that summarizes what is most important, and that word is integrity. This is not the time to bend the rules. This is a time to follow the law. This is not a time to hide from the facts. This is a time to embrace them, making sure that we're pushing for transparency every step of the way. The fact that Pam Bondi's Department of Justice and this presidential administration has already come to a conclusion about those facts is deeply concerning. The facts that from the very beginning they're calling the victim a domestic terrorist, they're calling the actions of the agent involved as some form of defensive posture. We know that they've already determined much of the investigation, and even if they haven't, there is the appearance that there is some conclusion drawn from the very beginning. If not hide from the facts, why not embrace them? If it's not a problem to have additional people at the table that have a deep commitment to the process and transparency and have run these investigations before, then why not include them in the process? The Bureau of Criminal Apprehension at the state of Minnesota has consistently run these investigations before. They have done so without bias. They've done so with a great deal of expertise. This is not some radical, way out there group. This is a group that is formed by experts who understand how to investigate. Many of them have been police officers themselves. So our ask is really simple here. Our ask is to embrace the truth. Our ask is to include the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension in this process because we in Minneapolis want a fair investigation. Is it deeply concerning that this administration from the very get-go is drawing the conclusion that they may ultimately come to? Of course it is. And if you got nothing to hide from, then don't hide from it. Include local experts in the process. We got nothing to hide from here. All we want in Minneapolis is justice and the truth. And speaking of the truth, let me give you another one. I have heard countless people talk about Minneapolis, many of them who have never been here, as some form of post-apocalyptic hellscape, as a place that is dangerous. Well, let me give you a statistic. 50% of the shootings that have happened thus far in Minneapolis this year have been ICE. In other words, we've only had 2 shootings. One of them has been ICE. We are a safe city. ICE is making it less so. We are a city of unity, but ICE is trying to divide us and tear us apart. For every one of the people that you see standing here behind me, they have more than 1,000 people behind them. They have people that are committed to their neighbors, committed to integrity, committed to justice, and committed to getting the truth. We will not back down from it. Among those that won't back down from it is the person who I'm about to introduce. His ward is right on the borderline of where this particular shooting happened, and that is Councilmember Jason Chavez. Would you please give him a warm round of applause?
Good morning. My name is Jason Chavez, and I have the privilege of representing Ward 9 on the Minneapolis City Council, where ICE murdered Renee Good. I want to let you all know that our entire community is mourning because of the inhumane tactics of ICE separating our families, forcing people back into the shadows, and the pure brutality by Immigration's Customs Enforcement. The videos that we have all seen, yourself included, does not match the false narrative from the federal government. In fact, you can hear the words, "I am pulling out," moments before ICE decided to take the life of Renee Good. She was a mother, a wife, and a beloved community member, not a domestic terrorist. I'm calling on Trump's FBI to allow the Minnesota BCA to have access to all the information so an independent investigation can occur. It is important and critical to our community to have a sense of trust in this process by having an independent investigation to present to the county attorney so that adequate charges can be made. But most importantly, I am here on behalf of my entire community, echoing the calls to arrest, to prosecute and fire this ICE agent who murdered Renee Good, and to hold those accountable complicit in this crime. What has descended upon Minneapolis and in this state is not the American dream. It is not what the American dream is about. Our immigrant neighbors are here to work. They're here to provide for their family and to achieve prosperity. Instead, what we are seeing in Minneapolis and across this state is ICE kidnapping our family, following folks driving to work and kidnapping them, following people as they're heading to school or to the daycare, picking up our immigrant neighbors from bus stops. While neighbors are struggling to afford groceries, they're picking them there as well. I've personally been on the streets since this first happened, and I've seen too many ICE agents kidnap our neighbors from their cars. And to that, we're always going to condemn it. And as we continue to ask for justice for Renee Good, we're going to ask our community members to stay on alert. As a proud son of Mexican immigrants, I ask Minneapolis and Minnesota to rise up, to do everything in their power to defend our immigrant neighbors, to continue to observe the illegal actions by ICE, to blow your whistle when you see immigration enforcement in your neighborhood, to get trained on rapid response so you can educate your neighbors on what is happening on your block, to provide rides to your immigrant neighbors who need to go to work, who need to get groceries, who need to see their children come back home safely, to help your immigrant neighbors move their cars during snow emergencies, because what we are seeing is many of our immigrant neighbors being picked up simply by moving their cars. To help your neighbors take out the trash, because there are many reports of neighbors being kidnapped while they are taking their trash out. To support our immigrant-owned businesses, to drop off groceries to our children, mothers, fathers, our community members that are starving, and to let know that ICE is not welcome in this city and in this state. And lastly, we're here to demand justice for Renee Good.
My name is Aisha Gomez. I serve as the state representative for District 62A, south side of Minneapolis, where our beloved community member was murdered this week. I'm so grateful to Councilmember Chavez for explaining this moment to us and calling on us as a community into this struggle that our neighbors are facing. With respect to the investigation into this shooting, there's really only one question in front of us. Are we going to design a process that's legitimate or not? In 2020, the state legislature created the Force Investigations Unit after the murder of George Floyd, which happened right around the corner, 7 or 8 blocks away from where Renee Good was murdered. This unit was established after a long process of looking into what are the best practices when there is an officer-involved shooting. We learned a lot about this in 2020 in Minneapolis, unfortunately. One of the things that we learned is that if you actually are interested in public safety, if you actually are interested in the legitimacy of a law enforcement force in your community, then you must be invested in accountability, in transparency, and in fair investigations when bad things happen. That's right. And so that's the question in front of us. Do we want a legitimate investigation that pulls in the professionals of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension who are trained to do this, who have done this over and over, who have the kind of local connections and local legitimacy that the FBI could just never have because they don't have that kind of presence here? Or are we going to have a discredited farce of an investigation? And so as a group of elected representatives who are deeply invested in the safety of our community and thus in the legitimacy of these processes, we call on the FBI to share the evidence with the Force Investigations Unit at the BCA and have this be a legitimate and trusted investigation. Thank you.
I'm Hennepin County Commissioner Irene Fernando, but you can call me Commish. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a very, very proud child of immigrants. I'm the youngest woman to ever serve on the Hennepin County Board. I'm the first Filipino-American elected in the state.
Okay, you were just listening into that press conference from Minneapolis, Hennepin County officials. I think I heard we're going to continue streaming this if you want to stick with this.
Fox9.com.
But otherwise, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here at Fox 9 Good Day.
Here.
You're watching Fox 9 Good Day.
Well, welcome back. Dogs and cats in their younger years especially, they're all jumping, they're playing, you've got the zoomies, but all that activity that can cause some issues over time.
Indeed. Dr. Eric Ruhlin joins us now with a look at some of the common issues with aging and joints and all the things. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
So let's talk this. I mean, what are the most, you see a dog limping, or you see your dog limping, what's the most common reason?
So to back up a little bit, I guess, orthopedic disease is so common. And I think, to your point, a lot of us can recognize when a dog gets to the point that they're limping, that there's clearly an issue there, right? 80% of dogs over 8 years of age have osteoarthritis, have some level of orthopedic disease, right? You guys didn't know when I walked in the studio today, I have an MCL tear on my right leg. Was I limping? Did you know that?
I did not.
No. Does it hurt? Yeah. But we have a lot of dogs and cats out there that suffer silently in their disease. So part of this, the conversation I wanted to have today, part of this revolves around recognizing subclinical disease, and your veterinarians are really good. We can speak the language, right? We see the subtle things. But to go back to your point, dogs, when they are limping on an actual, on one specific joint, there's a variety, a myriad of different diseases that could cause that, right? But what we more commonly see is your dog start to slow down. I can't tell you how many times I've been in an exam room and people say, oh, Dr. Eric, my dog, at 8 years of age, is like, gosh, we're really slowing down. And I'm like, your dog isn't slowing down. Your dog could very likely have orthopedic or osteoarthritic disease.
Your dog is probably in pain.
Yes.
Okay.
We suffer silently, right? They can't tell you this. They will just kind of sit there and not say anything, right? And so what are the signs, what should we be looking for, and what are the things you've got to be looking for? Ask your veterinarian and talk to them about that. And a lot of times what we will do as veterinarians, we even too can put a dog a dog like Butter is very stoic. She, you could hit her with a truck and she'd be like, I'm fine, I'm cool, whatever.
Take shot of stoic dog.
Yeah, exactly. Take case in point, stoic dog. But what we'll do a lot of times, what clinicians can try is we'll try a course of non-steroidal anti-inflammatories or maybe a short course of pain meds and see what the response to therapy is, right? And see, wow, all of a sudden, I've had dogs that maybe have been slowing down for 2 years, and I try them on a trial of maybe, pick any NSAID that we have on the market right now for 2 to 3 weeks, and all of a sudden they're like, my dog is acting like a completely different dog. And I was like, well, your dog was potentially in pain, right?
Sure. So that stinks.
Yeah.
So, what are options? Is it going to involve surgery every time? Is it going to involve pain meds every time? Is it going to involve a lot of money? Because let's be honest, a lot of this stems from money. It's expensive.
It is. It's very expensive. And I think when I go back and start thinking about some of the causes of these things, a lot of us, when I talk about overweight management a lot, because a lot of this has to come back to calories and caloric density and how much food these dogs are getting. Could it involve drugs and medication and surgery? Yes, it depends on the disease process itself. Generalized osteoarthritic disease, the cornerstones of therapy are keeping our dogs lean, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. Again, there is a bunch of them on the market. There's Rimadyl, Galliprant, Meloxicam. There's, pick your anti-inflammatory. Most veterinarians have a kind of a one that they feel safe about. There are neuroleptic analgesics like pregabalin or gabapentin, which are really great for chronic pain, but they don't do much for for inflammation. Arthritis is an inflammatory condition, and it's cyclical, right? You blow your back out. Okay, this is a good case. You blow your back out. Your back is really painful. It gets inflamed. It goes through scar tissue inflammation. Then it starts to get a little bit better. And then you do it again, right? And it's cyclical and it comes back. And part of the keystones of the therapy, again, are to keep inflammation at bay, keep inflammation down, and to keep that cycle from repeating again. Keeping weight under control is a big thing.
So keeping weight management.
Yes.
Anything else to prevent? Do you want to exercise them more, exercise them less? Do you want to prevent them from jumping? What are some things that can help?
Great question. Good, consistent activity and exercise is always really, really good. I think a lot of people worry their dog's heavy and they're like, well, I'm going to go out and we're going to, it's January 1st today and we're going to start losing weight. And they start throwing the ball. We're going to throw the ball for 30 minutes every day, and then you have a dog that eventually will come up lame, right?
Yeah.
Those are pretty significant problems. Keeping your dog under good condition, good weight, and recognizing when your dog is slowing down and having the conversation with your veterinarian to say, hey, like, Butter's slowing down, and is this maybe time to have a conversation? And those can start, some of these diseases, I'm starting to see osteoarthritis in some of these dogs as young as 4 and 5 years of age. And I honestly think there's some studies that are coming out about, when you should neuter and spay your dog. That's the new sexy topic in vet med right now. We've talked about this before. The American Veterinary Medical Association hasn't really tied together like an age that's appropriate for your dog, except getting your dog spayed and neutered is appropriate. I honestly think the scientist in me, as I look at this, I look at how much food we are pushing on puppies at a young age and watching these puppies grow rapidly, really quickly. That is an abnormal situation. If you think about the way wolves kind of evolved, little puppies, like little wolf puppies, do not get the caloric density that our puppies are getting now. And
so it takes them
it takes them longer, they're much leaner, and their incidence of osteoarthritis is a fraction compared to what the domestic dog population is. And if you think about it, that's one of the big, I think about evolutionary biology all the time as a scientist, and that is the one thing that
you wake up in the morning and think that, don't you?
I actually do. I think about the way a tree grows and the way an animal is sitting there and how the pressures that were put on it. But puppies are pushed to grow way too fast. They're too fat, they become too big, and their frames are too big, and that will set them up. That first 12 months has already set them up for a lifelong a potential problem. So keeping puppies in particular really lean has scientific evidence to say that will keep your dog lean throughout its life.
You're just full of good news today. Basically, just
feed
your animals less is what you're saying.
We kind of come back to that a lot. Enough.
We're not underfeeding.
Yes, we don't want to we're not underfeeding, but what we're doing
feed them perfectly.
Well, and that's a hard thing too. And talking to your veterinarian every time they're coming in, every 3 to 4 weeks, having them do a physical exam and say, are they appropriate? Because a lot of us look at puppies that are really fat and broly, and we're like, oh, that's an appropriate puppy. That's actually not a lot of times. So. Yeah.
I love having conversations with you because this is like having conversations with me about weather. It's a lot of, but actually, here's a long explanation.
I feel like I could leave this seat and you two would just go for the next 2 hours.
We probably would.
But here's the deal, we ran out of time.
Yeah, sorry.
Perfect. So we're actually going to cut your mic. No. Dr. Eric Butter, we appreciate you both being here. Really good information.
It was good.
stpaulpet.com for more information.
All right, we're taking a break. Good Day will come right back.
Welcome back to Fox 9 Good Day.
Well, when it comes to cooking, it can be pretty easy to fall into the same routine. We get stuck.
Scrambled eggs every day.
Don't do that,
all I
Shane.
eat. I know.
Don't.
This morning we're helping
Branch
infuse
out.
well, we're going to do that. Sina War, she's going to help us. This could be a breakfast, lunch, or dinner recipe. Sounds like something you can really do a lot with. So welcome. We're glad you're here.
I'm so happy to be back.
It smells delicious in here.
It does.
Yeah.
We love the smell-o-vision. So you're talking about Cambodian crepes.
Yes. So this is a dish that my mother taught me.
Okay.
It's a dish where like you want some comfort food, a warm hug. Like my mom and I, our whole family is from across the world, and we spent 2 weeks together during the holidays, and this was the last meal she made before everybody went home. So this is like a really special dish.
And then most of this, or a lot of this, came from the farmer's market, we should mention.
Oh, absolutely. Farmers markets right now, like it's the middle of winter. You don't think to go to the market, right? But there's so much available.
Okay.
And you can go to Minnesota Farmers Market Association's website, mfma.org. There's a map, and there's all these markets. So the outdoor markets usually find somewhere to go inside.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can stay nice and warm and cozy. There's a lot of produce and specialty products like
Little shout out to this
heirloom
coffee, by the way.
tortillas.
I
Yeah,
have
that
this coffee
coffee
at
is
home.
great.
It's so good.
Yeah. But I wanted to show you guys something really cool that one of our farmers does. He does freeze-dried products.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Yes.
that's
celery.
This is actually leeks.
Really?
I knew that. Yeah, I only make scrambled eggs.
Yes. Although leeks and scrambled eggs are really good.
I'm gonna try it.
You actually should try this. So how you bring
I
it back
love
to life
this.
by putting it in liquid.
Okay.
And it's like it's fresh, like you just made it. And
That's
this guy,
wild.
he farmed all these ingredients and then he freeze dries it and
And
then
what did you
sells
say
it.
This is like, wait, what was that one?
This one's carrots.
That's freeze-dried carrots?
That's freeze-dried carrots. And then
That's so cool.
in my
I've never seen
them
that.
like that?
You can.
It's a little bit of a curiosity factor.
When
but-
you go to the farmer's market, he lets you try all the different freeze-dried products.
That's
and
cool.
it's like a magic trick. You eat it, you're like, what? This is a carrot? That's
awesome.
It's really fun. But for my recipe, I use freeze-dried green onions. So
Okay.
these were from the summertime, and then they go right inside of my batter.
Okay, and what's the batter made of?
The batter is made out of rice flour.
Okay.
You also use some coconut milk, some farm fresh eggs, and some water, and then you get the color with turmeric.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
And to make it easy, you just go to the Asian grocery store, and they like you go to the store buy pancake mix. You can just buy crepe mix.
Okay.
That's
So a lot-
awesome.
A lot of easy steps there.
Okay.
So then I make this beautiful batter, and then we have a really hot pot, right? And it goes inside it. In Cambodian, we call it bang chow, because when the batter hits the pan, it goes chow. All right. And then what goes inside, it's a savory crepe. I made some stir-fried ground chicken. This is from Bar 5 Meats. They're outside, actually, at the winter market.
Good for them.
Yep. So I have this beautiful locally produced ground chicken, some bean sprouts that I grow with Twin Tiger Farm and Gardens. That's my farm.
Nice.
And then we just put that right inside of the crepe, and then we flip it over just like that. And now look at that beautiful crepe.
Nice.
Yeah.
It almost looks like an omelet.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
You,
I love
you might
it.
be a little
Very much
familiar
does.
with that.
Oh, it smells good too. When you tipped it our way,
you
we
and
got
your
a
scrambled
little bit
eggs.
of that. Yeah, I gave away my secret.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so Winter's Farmers Market's in full swing. There's also classes.
Yes.
For people like maybe me, or if
Who
you
only
just
eat scrambled eggs.
want to learn new things.
Yes, so every last Friday of the month, I'm doing a new series. It's called Farmers Market Cooking Class.
Okay.
So I take recipes that I grew up with, I take local ingredients, and then we teach people how to make it. You get to go home with a meal kit to try it at home yourself.
Nice.
And it's just like a bunch of stuff from the market. Like, it's so amazing. Our vendors really need their our community support right now. So any reason to come out, I'd say do it. For sure.
I love me some fresh food too. And farmers markets are always fun because you may think you've seen it all or know something, and then you just find something new every single
Yeah.
day.
Freeze-dried carrots.
Also
Exactly. Exactly. You get to know where your
a
food
great
comes
example.
from, how it's produced, and then it's all about community too. Like last week, we were just talking about every single one of you. Like everybody on the news station, they love you guys so much.
Well, go
And
us.
especially Shane, she's always at the farmer's market.
blushing.
So-
You're at the farmer's market, but you're not buying anything because you only eat scrambled eggs.
I do leave with things, but they're things I eat
fresh
whole.
eggs.
Okay.
Like
Apples?
Don't do anything to that.
Fair.
No work required.
Leave Shane alone. She's great.
Thank you. All right. If you want to register for the classes, by the way, we mentioned if I head to stpaulfarmersmarket.com.
All right. Puppies from around the country are set to face off in a special matchup. Plus, a fan's interaction with the Jaguars quarterback is extremely unusual.
Those stories are in your good list.
Puppy Bowl is set to return, and for the first time, there will be 15 pups with special needs, plus a special exhibition game that spotlights senior dogs available for adoption as well. That one will be Team Oldies versus Team Goldies. In all, the Puppy Bowl will highlight 150 dogs from the more than 70 shelters. The 3-hour show will simulcast across several networks on February 8th, of course, the same day as the Super Bowl. There's a New York City bakery that's now famous for its colossal cannoli. It's a giant pastry shell stuffed with dozens of other smaller cannolis. They then, of course, put more cream on it. It weighs a whopping 5 pounds. The massive cannoli costs about $100 and is made by special order. A couple driving a motorized couch was spotted cruising down a busy street in Kentucky. The sofa setup comes with some state law essentials like seatbelts and a license plate. It also includes some other staples traditionally out of a living room, like lamps and a coffee table. The couch car was built using the framework of a golf cart and can go about 35 miles an hour. Most fans would ask for a selfie when they meet the quarterback for their favorite team, but not this woman. Navy veteran Natasha Lane had a different request for Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. She asked to put him over her shoulders and do several squats while carrying him, the 220-pound player, across her shoulders. She's used to working with precious cargo as a weapons systems technician in the Navy and as a mom, but this was to a whole other level.
Everybody was saying, in the comments that I'm reading everywhere, she had $50 million on her back. She was carrying the whole team. Imagine she would have dropped him, the week before the playoffs. And I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about that. If I would have dropped him, I would have been in a hole. I would have had the whole Jaguars nation coming after me.
Just having a good time, I guess. I don't know how else to describe this. I did not think that was going to happen, so, but it was interesting.
Lawrence's focus is now turning back to football as the Jags take on the Buffalo Bills on Sunday in the wildcard round of the NFL playoffs. That's amazing.
Also that he said yes.
He did say yeah. He could have said no.
I'm good.
Now I have a newfound respect for both of them.
I love that she didn't think about
$50 million on her back.
And what that would do.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but she didn't.
Hey, it worked out. That's all that matters. All right, once a staple of professional life, happy hour culture is now supposedly on the way out. Experts say there are several reasons to this. According to the Wall Street Journal, many people still aren't going to the office, and those who do just want to get home by 6 o'clock. Also, business budgets for mandatory fun have shrunk. Have there ever been a business budget for mandatory fun? Never been in that business.
Not anywhere I've worked.
Seriously. Also, American adults are just drinking less overall. The trend may be good for work-life balance, but young workers say they're missing out on opportunities to make friends and to find mentors. Okay.
I don't feel like we've ever been in an industry that did a lot of happy hour because we work at weird hours.
I mean, our happy hour is like 10:30 in the morning, which sounds
it's a hard sell.
Also sounds bad, but we've been up since 1:30 or 2, so technically it's our happy hour.
And then you're like, oh, here goes nap time.
Also true. But then also you need someplace open at 10:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Also difficult.
All problems. All right, there's a big debate going on right now about etiquette, particularly during a theater production. So this was sparked after this video was taken during intermission of a recent performance of Mamma Mia on Broadway. A man yelled at fellow audience members for being disruptive during the first act. He called for a security guard, saying they were singing loudly during the show. Now this has people questioning whether people can sing, dance, or chat on their phones during a show. No, you cannot talk on the phone during a show.
Correct.
One New York City theater critic says most bad behavior is tied to the sale of alcohol.
People are drinking before the show, and then they come in, and then they expect people to behave. I would only say that the producers and the theater owners have themselves to blame for the fact that people are misbehaving on Broadway now because they decided to sell drinks during the show.
Oh, turning it back on the producers. Okay, another thing that annoys theater goers, people using phones, eating snacks loudly, getting up in the middle of a show.
Check, check, and check.
What do you think about the singing when it's like one of those songs everybody knows? I wouldn't sing because I know the person next to me does not want to hear me sing that song. They want to hear, you know, some famous person belt it out.
I would say generally no, but there are specific shows, and of course I can't think of one off the top of my head right now. There are specific shows that like encourage the audience to take part in specific songs.
Okay.
I've been in a couple shows where like the last song they like encourage you to sing along. So outside of that, I'd say no, because you can sing at home to your soundtrack by yourself all the time.
In your car, in your shower.
Wherever you want, just not in the theater because you're there to see it live.
To watch the professionals.
Correct.
Yeah.
Who sound a lot better than everyone else.
Yep.
So there you
they
go.
do it.
There's our take. All right, up next, a beloved story is back on the stage in our area.
This is a good one, too. Three brothers take a shot at national fame and fortune. That's the storyline. Doesn't really work out for them. We're chatting with the cast of Triple Espresso. I hope they brought some. That's coming up next.